Just that jumpin', yeah. Just that jumpin', start like 23. Just that jumpin', 2 4 like Kobe. Just that jumpin', shoot my shot, then beat. Just that jumpin', right around song of my trees. Just that jumpin', start like 23. Just that jumpin', 2 4 like Kobe. Just that jumpin', shoot my shot, then beat. Just that jumpin', right around smoking my dreams. I be ballin' in music like Kobe. I'm the greatest to ever do it, they don't know it.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the USN Draft Spectacular 2025 right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. I am Andrew Tarbill. We got a full house with the USN crew tonight. We got my boy Turtle behind me with the Let's Go Bears hashtag. I love it. I almost put a pair of jeans in the letter T on mine, but I didn't want nobody to get upset. We got our guy Ace down next to me, and we got our guy Mike down in the bottom left corner. We got a full house tonight, guys. Very excited to follow the draft live with you and go over the picks as we go. Obviously, a lot of momentum around the first round here, guys, and couldn't be more excited to be talking football with you guys. This is my favorite show of the year, as I'm sure it is most of y'all. So, what's up, everybody? How we doing tonight? Ace,
Adam,
good?
Adam Schefter just dropped a bomb on everybody.
What do you say?
Cam Ward's going to be the number one pick.
Oh.
Oh, stop it.
You think they take the full 8 minutes to do the
Of course they're going to.
Now, we don't want to keep this up too long because last year
right.
we got flagged, remember?
Right.
So
yeah, we'll add it in as the picks get close.
Right.
That's the smart thing to do.
Yeah. We got lazy with it last year, and they were like,
yeah, we just kept it up for like 4 picks straight.
Yeah,
wild.
And that DCMA came and got us because, we're so big on YouTube that they should be coming after us.
Yeah, I thought that was only for monetary things. Like they can only.
But anyways, what's up, boys? What's the word? How's everybody doing?
And I'm anxious. I don't
Anxious?
What's gonna happen? I think everyone. At least for me, anyways. I think the first 4 picks are set, and then after that, the draft starts.
I'm just ready for this fucking draft to be over.
Yeah.
I'm just so. I feel like we've been talking about this draft because of how the fucking season played out for so long. And there's so much smoke screening and everything.
Oh, for sure.
Especially this week and
absolutely.
last week, that I'm just ready to see who the Bears get and what the outlook for next year could potentially be.
I feel like most years with the Bears, we have a close to a clear vision of what we think they might do, like at least position wise, where they might aim. I feel like there's so many, like they can go edge rusher, they can go tackle, they can go defensive line, like they can go running back. Like I think this is the first year in a while where there is just, and I think Turtle said it best earlier in our chat, where once they addressed the O-line so much in free agency, it just left the playbook wide open of what they could do with this first pick.
Well, I think both lines, they went out, they got Grady Jarrett, they went out and got Dio, now this week.
So can I ask you guys a question about Grady Jarrett?
Sure, absolutely you can.
Yeah.
Do we think that at his age, he's really going to be like that dynamic impact of a player at his age? Or is he was he brought in to be a guy because your locker room was so bad last year? So was he brought in to mostly be this guy that can be like, hey, I'm the leader of this defense. This is my show. Listen to me.
So I think your question kind of brings me right to my next point about Grady Jarrett. They brought in Grady Jarrett. They brought in Dio. And then you hear this week that Dio is actually going to slide inside and play inside on most pass rush downs. So I think you're going to see Grady Jarrett play the run. But when it comes to the pass rush downs, you're going to see Dio and Dexter in there against when they're rushing the passer. And I think you'll see more Billings and Jarrett in there when they're trying to stuff the run.
And we have a lot of time to fill tonight. So there's going to be a lot of conversation, especially about the Bears and next season, what they can do in this draft. I know that there was a lot of talk about different positions that each of us kind of hope the Bears go and look at, right? And, I know Mike has his thoughts, Tarbill, Turtle, everybody's got their thoughts on who they want. why don't we go around the table here and just kind of speak your piece, what you think, why you think it, and then we go on to the next person just to see what everybody's thoughts are on where the Bears should look.
No, they just comped Cam Ward to Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
They did the same thing with Caleb Williams last year. Everyone's the next Mahomes.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Anybody who throws off platform, they just say, well, his comp is Patrick Mahomes.
Has this draft not been touted as one that's not like that great, right?
For quarterback?
Just in general for talent.
I think running backs, it's supposed to be a really deep running back draft. You can get a really good running back in the second and third rounds. You could get there's
O-line too. O-line,
but it's been touted as more of like it's a lot of good players,
but
there's not a lot of great players, right? Right. So like, I don't know. It's to me. Well, let's go round table and we'll kind of just play a log, see who thinks what. Who wants to go first? I do not want to go first.
All right, so I'll go first, but I'm gonna challenge y'all to say not so much who you want them to draft, but who you think realistically they're going to draft.
Okay, well, let's do it.
I'm gonna actually let my guy Turtle start this one because I think everybody in the group, at least here, knows what I'm gonna say. So go ahead, Turtle. We're gonna let you kick it off.
I think as far as who they're going to take, I think it's really hard this year to know. Especially because that 5 through 9, those teams could go a lot of different ways. It's hard to know who's going to be there and who's going to be gone at 10. But I think some combination between the first 3 picks, I think they get a running back, I think they get an edge, and I think they get an offensive lineman. Or some sort of defensive lineman. I guess it could be an interior, it could be an edge.
The Tennessee Titans select Cameron Ward.
Cameron Ward.
Mitchell and Mitch,
Yeah. I don't really know who they're going to go or what position they're going to go with. I think, I'm not even too worried about it, to be completely honest. I think it's going to be really hard for me to not be okay with whatever route they go.
So, in Ben Johnson, we trust, is what you're saying?
I heard.
Do you have more faith in Ben Johnson or Ryan Poles? That's a fun topic.
Definitely Ben Johnson. I think I was telling somebody earlier about Cleveland just traded their pick. Jacksonville just moved up to 2. What the hell just happened?
Oh man.
They're going to take Travis Hunter.
Just talking about what they're getting the trade right now. Cameron Ward hasn't even finished getting his hat yet, and they're already talking about something else.
At least let the guy have his moment. He's the number 1.
So they just swap first rounders. They get a 4th round and a 6th round. I don't know. It doesn't seem.
After hearing it's for Travis Hunter.
Yeah, that's all they've talked about this whole time today is. Get a weapon for.
That is a remarkable development. Immediate.
What's crazy about that is because that's where a lot of people had Genty going to at 6.
And maybe they moved up to get him.
The Raiders at 6. This is Jacksonville at 5.
Or I'm sorry, Jaguars at 5. Yeah.
Giving in return. Think about Jacksonville right now. Liam Cohen, right? Head coach.
And I don't think they give up that much for Genty. So they're probably going Hunter.
Oh, they're definitely going Hunter.
So then that leads.
So let's go back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, let's continue.
So now what's going to throw everything off though is what Cleveland does at 5, because everyone assumed Cleveland was taking Hunter. So now what does Cleveland do at 5? Does Cleveland do they take a quarterback? Do they?
I say they go. They might go Graham. Add Graham to that D line.
You could go
That'd
Graham.
Be a nasty D line.
So
there's definitely a lot
hold
of
on.
to make there.
Before we proceed,
that just threw everything off.
Yeah, before we proceed with our Bears picks, because we got a little bit of time before we get there. Do you guys truly think that Travis Hunter can be the first ever dual role player in the NFL and be successful?
I'll be right back, guys.
I do not.
Well, I wouldn't say first ever because Deion Sanders did it, but
I just think it's in
let's say
today's
first
NFL,
in the modern era.
I think today's NFL, it's going to be way too much on him to play both sides of the ball full time.
I think he will be able to play both sides of the ball, but I don't think he's going to be elite on both sides of the ball. I think he will be a good receiver. I think he'll be a good corner, but I don't think he'll necessarily be great.
Because aren't there better wide receivers in this draft than Travis Hunter? And aren't there better corners in this draft than Travis Hunter? The only reason that you take him is for the dual threat, but
he's probably a better corner than receiver.
In my opinion,
right.
Well, but don't you think Jacksonville's drafting him specifically for his wide receiver ability to help?
Yeah, and I think
wouldn't you rather have a different wide receiver in that situation then?
So I think when you're a team like Jacksonville, they might be thinking like, we could really use a receiver, we could really use a corner. Let's try to go get one player that can play both. But like, I haven't been very high on Travis Hunter's stock because in the end, you're going to have a good wide receiver, you're going to have a good corner, but like, I don't think a good receiver, a good corner is worth a second overall pick. Like, they got to be pretty elite to take him there. So, like, I think he'll play both sides.
So the Browns got a 25 5th round, a 25 second, and a 4th, and then next year's first round pick.
Wow.
So they got a first round to move up 3 spots.
That's how much it's going to cost the Bears.
And a second and a 4th.
And a second and 4th this year.
Yeah, if the Bears trade up for a fucking running back, I will walk off of this set. If they give up next year's first round draft pick and a second round pick to move up to take a running back.
No, so I guess this is a good segue for me to go into mine then. I've said I don't think we should give up a first for if we trade up for Genty. I am 100% against giving up a first for it. If we can do something where like we can get rid, like we can trade one of our seconds and our future third with Swift kind of thing for him, and we're not giving up any first to get Genty, I think it's kind of worth it. But at the same time, I can see the argument of why people don't want to give up the draft capital to get him. I'm not saying I would love it. I guess I'm just saying I'd be okay with it. But if
my only thought about it is when the Lions got Gibbs, they were able to trade back, right? Get Gibbs and also get another pick that turned into what's his name?
Laporta.
Yeah, Laporta. So they got 2 game guys right off the bat.
Yeah.
And 2 and 3 years before that, they built the offensive line those 3 drafts leading up to that. I said, like, I get it. If he's there at 10, Ben Johnson's if they looked at the line and they said, okay, we think Amagaji, give him a year of an off season. We've seen some things that we like about him. I think that he'll be somebody that we can really rely on. Then you trust Ben Johnson's opinion on that. He watched what a good offensive line looks like, right? I just do not like the idea of trading up and losing capital to take your running back. And the last last team to trade up for a running back was the Cleveland Browns, and they took Trent Richardson, who was supposed to be this game-changing generational running back. And how did that turn out for him?
Yeah, but so that's a fair point, but Henderson was not built anything close to what Genty's built as. And I really believe that Genty is going to be a complete game changer.
Except Henderson played against real defenses every week.
And I mean, that's fine. I think he's built. I mean, he's shown he's had the strength and the speed.
Genty got to play against high school defenses for most of the season.
So my biggest thought was when I was reading all the stuff about the Bears want to trade up, and there was talks about trading Swift and picks to move up with Jacksonville, I kept thinking like, okay, so if Genty is that good of a player, why would Jacksonville? What?
What if Jacksonville moved up to get Abdul Carter?
That'd be wild.
Sorry,
are they about to pick?
Yeah, they are. The pick's in. They just came to the podium.
I don't want to go too soon and get. But my thought was,
bring it up, Ace. It's fine, bro.
If Jacksonville wanted Swift or wanted a running back, and Genty was that big of a guy, why not just take him instead of taking Swift? And it's the same thought process with the Bears. Come on, enough with the talking.
To identify a passion close to their heart and act upon it. Use your platform to make your community, the league, and this world a better place. As we remember Walter Payton, strive to leave a positive legacy of your own. Thank you.
My TV's a little before you. I can tell you after they make the pick if you want to wait.
Let's wait. Let's wait and break it live.
We have a trade.
Yeah, we know that.
The Cleveland Browns have traded the second pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, the best sound in all
sports. With the second pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Travis Hunter.
I don't know, man.
From Colorado.
To me,
it's Shad Khan. You know Shad Khan wants to splash.
That is true. He's Mr. AEW over there.
He's gonna go get the new Deion Sanders.
So to me, I think the only reason that this pick was even made is because Travis Hunter is coached by Deion Sanders. Like,
I don't think that. I think it's because
Colorado is not anything really to brag about as a.
Well, Turtle, you weren't even here when I asked the question.
Sorry, John just got.
Like, is he, in terms of wide receivers, is he the best wide receiver in this draft?
So here's what they say. Everything I watch, they say his route running is at elite level. His hands are at an elite level. And as a corner, he's an elite level corner. So you're getting a guy that is going to start at wide receiver and start at corner. So is he the best wide receiver in the draft? Probably not. Is he the best corner in the draft? Maybe. But when he plays both,
yeah, but how long is he going to realistically?
He says if he can't play both ways, he's not playing football.
Okay, well, I mean, think about the toll. And I never played football. I played backyard football, whatever. But think about the toll that'll take. Imagine if you have a 15-play drive on offense, right? And you're running routes all those 15 plays. And then you have to turn around and be a number one cornerback right after that and guard the number one wide receiver on the other team, and that goes 15 plays. Then you're expected to come back out and play wide receiver and run another 10. Like, I just don't get it. I don't think it's possible. I think it's a cool concept. It's a novel idea, but in my opinion, I don't see how he's going to be able to have a successful career at one or the other if he's going to play a full season by mid-season.
You want to know what's crazy to think about? Insane. You know what's crazy to think about is there's a real – I know there's possibilities teams trade up and this doesn't happen, but there's a real possibility that both Sanders and Jackson Dart fall to the Steelers at 21. The Steelers have been high on both guys. Say they take Jackson Dart. What if Cleveland trades back into the first to take Sanders?
Wow. I was literally just thinking that. I was thinking how crazy that would be if they were able to kind of make some kind of move to come back in and get Sanders. That would, I don't know.
I don't think they're both there because I think the Saints take one at 9. Giants pick is in already. They didn't waste no time.
Where did they go?
I mean, it's got to be Abdul Carter. I don't think anything changes for them. It's just who took Hunter.
No, yeah.
So why are the Giants not going after Sanders? I'm confused.
Because why would you pass on Abdul Carter?
Honestly, right. I would rather if the Bears had the second pick in the draft, I would say I hope they draft Abdul Carter over Hunter.
Yeah,
Abdul Carter is probably the best player in the draft.
I think
what is the Bear? That's one thing we haven't really talked about as a group. What is the biggest need on this team right now?
Well, and I think that's what changes things, right? Like for the Bears, an elite pass rusher off the edge helps them way more than a corner / receiver. But you take a team like Jacksonville who has I forget what he changed his name to, but Josh Allen. I think it's like Josh Allen Hines or something like that now. But they got Josh Allen, and they got the kid they took first overall or second overall like 2 years ago.
Thibodeau?
Who?
Are you talking about the Giants?
No, the Jaguars. The guy they were going to trade. Yeah, that's how impactful he's been in 2 years. But they got him and they got Josh Allen, so they already got 2 starting edges. So, like, for them, it doesn't make sense to take Abdul Carter. But, you know, then you look at a team like the Giants. They just signed Jameis Winston. They just signed Russell Wilson, 2 stopgap quarterbacks. Next year's draft is much better with quarterbacks. You're not going to be very good this year if you're the Giants. So you'll probably be picking one high next year to take one of those quarterbacks.
And you're probably moving on from your coach and GM after
next
season.
Absolutely.
So you might as well give them a high pick
now, and you get the best defensive line in football. And maybe you can steal a few games because you're not going to give up any points because you got the best defensive line in football.
So Ace, I think a conversation you and I had, and I think it'll be a lot easier to explain this way than in chat, and it kind of answers your question about bigger need. So when you and I talked about how I'm high on Genty, and you said is the running back a premier position. I know the running back position is not considered a premier position, but I feel like it's a very important position for the Bears. I think an elite running back changes a lot, and the reason why I get
that concept. Like I understand that, especially because of who Ben Johnson is and where he came from.
And if you have an elite running back, it opens up so much for Caleb Williams.
Giants select Abdul Carter.
Yeah. Abdul Carter.
So, like,
that defensive line is going to be disgusting.
Oh my God, it's easily the best.
It's going to be gross, bro.
Nasty, dude. Absolutely.
They got Burns. They got Burns, Thibodeau, and Carter now.
John Thibodeau.
They got
was it?
You think they try to trade one of those guys and get back into the first round?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, the Bears were interested at trading 10.
Jaden Daniels is about to get snapped in half.
Yeah, I mean that's a crazy defensive line. And now we're at 4, the Patriots, which I think is going to be Will Campbell.
I do too.
Unless the Bears trade up, there's been a lot of talk. The Bears were looking to trade up. I fucking pray.
Yeah, but they were talking to trade up with 5 for Jacksonville, and now Jacksonville's gone. Now that's 5 is Cleveland.
Hey, so let me ask you: would you be mad if the Bears traded up to get Genty without giving up a first?
Yes, just because I think that.
Wait. How are you trading up to 5 or 4?
He just means in general, I think. I think he just means in general.
There is a projection out there that the Bears could trade their 10th overall.
Well, that's giving you first.
So
they would
I'm
just
more
swap
like
the
a future
first.
Dude, if they gave up a future first to move up and get him, I'd stop being a Bears fan.
So this is my thought process. This whole draft has been the running back class is deep. It's a deep class, right? While the drop off from Genty to everybody else might be extreme, I still don't. The running back position has become devalued for a reason, right? And I think you can find guys in the second round that can give you enough to help take pressure off of Caleb and to make the Bears offense a little more explosive. I do. I don't think you need to trade up. If Genty's there at 10 and they want to take him, whatever. I think you need a premier pass rusher. You have no guy on your defensive line who was in the top 42 of pressures in the NFL last season. That's a problem.
Yep.
That's a problem. I don't care about hurries. I don't care about.
A lot of that's going to change with the coaching staff.
It could, right? But Eberflus was touted as this defensive coach, right?
But he was never. But even look at all of his Cleveland or Colt teams. They were never get after the quarterback type defense.
Right, and I understand. Once Brisker got hurt, it kind of threw everything off. Whatever. But your defensive line was not good. Yes, you lost a couple pieces. That's the NFL, right? The NFL, people get hurt. I think your biggest need in the division that you play in the competition that you go against in the conference at quarterback, you need to get the quarterback on the ground. hurrying the quarterback, that does nothing for me. Sorry. You need to get to the quarterback, get him on the ground. We've talked the last 2 seasons since they got Sweat. What's missing? A guy opposite of him that can take some pressure off of him, that can allow him to do the work that they brought him here. They paid him as a top flight edge rusher, and he's not performing. Yeah, he was hurt. I get it. But you still need to see more from that position. And by bringing in somebody opposite of him that is a bona fide 3-down edge rush guy, I think you automatically boost that defense to another level. Your offense has weapons. They got
so
Swift,
are we just
right?
are we just giving up on we as Bears, like the Bears, I guess, not like us individually, but are we just giving up on what's that dude's name that we all said we wanted to see more out
Austin
of?
Booker?
Yeah. Like, are we just giving up on him then?
I mean, I don't think you're giving up on him, but I think you learned a lot about him at the fact that he hardly played even towards the end of the year when people were injured.
He's going to step in and start.
Say that again?
I'd say he's obviously not somebody that at this point you could sit here and say, okay, well, you can count on him to step in and start.
Well,
every time,
but there's
you
also
haven't heard him
reports
say
that
anything positive
right
about
now.
him
He's
at
all you can consider him as a depth piece right now.
So,
and that's
like,
kind of where you're at with the offensive line guys too.
My problem is with that, though, is like there was a lot of reports that came out last year that said Eberflus was 100% not a Booker guy. So, like, him not starting might not have been a talent thing. It might have been
didn't show enough in practice for him to be a Booker guy.
Well, right, and like we watched.
Are we going to trust
Eberflus's?
Right?
You think Ryan? So, Mike, you're sitting here telling me that you think Ryan Poles was sitting up there going, "Man, this kid looks like a stud in practice. I'm cool. Eberflus not playing him at all on Sundays."
And then once Eberflus was gone, though, once Eberflus was gone, you still didn't see him.
Right. Exactly. I was just going to say that.
You know, you had 2 coaches this year, 2 defensive coordinators this year, and you still didn't see him towards the end of the season. To me, that says something about what they think of him. Now, you're right. It is a completely new defense, a completely new coaching staff. They might see something and be able to unlock something, and that would be great, right? But what's the problem? Look at the Giants' defensive line. What's the problem if that was the Bears' defensive line? There's no problem, right?
Right.
You could trade pieces to get more draft capital later. You can have guys rotate in and be healthy longer. Like, somebody goes down, you have depth in that position to help. So it's not a precipitous drop off in that.
Then my problem with that is and everyone knows I'm a Poles guy, I defend Poles, but if that's what he is, if the Bears have just come to fact and Ryan Poles said, "Yup, you're nothing but a depth piece," then why was he picked where he was picked in the draft?
Well, that's so. I don't want to get into my Poles hate here, but I'll definitely open up my suitcase and pull out the Poles hate if we want to get into it. I'm cool with that.
You could name 1,000 guys that GMs have picked high and go, "Well, why are they just depth pieces? They were picked there."
But they at least had a shot. Booker never had a shot.
How do you know he didn't have a
chance?
He clearly isn't showing anything. He's not talked about. He's not brought up. You don't hear Ryan Poles say, "Oh, I'm excited to see year 2 of Austin Booker." You don't hear nobody say that. You don't hear Ben Johnson come over and say, "Well, I think a big piece we have here is Austin Booker." You don't hear him talked about at all. It means he's not showing enough in practice to even be talked about or relevant when they talk about all the things they're excited for. I've heard Amagaji talked about all the time, and he got his ass whooped when he came in, and you don't hear nobody, not Ben Johnson, not Ryan Poles, not Dennis Allen, not Al Harris. You don't hear nobody on that staff talk about Austin Booker. That tells me more than just a Matt Eberflus problem.
I really think that the bigger issue here, and I know that a lot of people think I was hating on Poles, right? And maybe I was. Maybe I was hating a little bit.
A certain amount.
But there's a lot of guys that he's drafted that haven't been impact players thus far. Yeah, there's been a few that have. He got.
But you can say that about almost every GM.
Right. But
the
problem is he was brought in to break it down and rebuild. He broke it down. That team was awful. The next year's team wasn't much better, and then you got worse in your 3rd year. when guys that you drafted should have been guys that are stepping up and playing pivotal roles on your team.
Goodell's
That's all I was saying. You know, you drafted defensive linemen that you don't even see. Oh, Pats are up.
With the 4th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Will Campbell, tackle, LSU.
Well,
Wow.
4 for 4.
Will Campbell off the
oh,
board.
I thought he had
boys.
small arms.
He does. When he walks, you see he does have small arms.
He looks
Yeah,
like a
for
little
sure.
stout fella. He
He's
looks
super,
like he looks like he'd be like a lumberjack, you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
those.
Now he's got super small
But
arms.
so back to the initial thought of like the edge rush position.
Can I just say one thing about Ryan Poles before you go on?
Yeah.
I think anybody who refuses to admit that Ryan Poles got beyond lucky that Lovie Smith went for that 2-point conversion and Carolina got the first pick when they shouldn't have. Or, I mean, that the Bears got the first pick when they shouldn't have and was able to trade it for a haul
Yeah.
for a guy that is just average at best. After
And then not only that, but they had to get lucky enough for Carolina to be that
Right.
bad the next year.
Like, that's all those things had to line up perfectly. And then, like, let's not ignore the fact that he likes to move up. He wanted to move up to get Rome Odunze last year when he didn't have to. He traded for Chase Claypool, wasted pick. Like, there's been a lot of mistakes.
Last year, he
Mistakes and
traded
mistakes.
for journeyman
But-
offensive linemen that
Like-
were terrible.
You can go on and look at any team and say,
Yeah, but I don't
how
care
many
about any
minutes-
team. I'm talking
Well,
about
I know,
the
but
Bears,
just-
and I'm talking about Ryan
Well,
Poles. Everybody talks
so
about.
let me
Hold
so
on,
let
let
me
me
finish my
finish. Let me finish.
I was-
Everybody talks about Ryan Poles this and Ryan Poles that, and he's done this and he's done that. He drafted Caleb Williams first overall in a draft that everybody would have taken Caleb Williams, and if they wouldn't have, they would have taken Jaden Daniels, who had a very, very good year. Probably a better year than Caleb Williams. Now, I still believe Caleb Williams is the better of the two picks long term, but you could say you can't really argue with the people who would have taken Jaden Daniels at this point. There's been a lot of things that Ryan Poles hasn't really done. You know, yeah, look at what they did this year for the offensive line. That's because he's done absolutely nothing for it the previous 4 years.
Right. If
Well,
if you spent a draft pick in the top picking guys the first or second round, like Rome is a great piece. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But could you have used a premier offensive tackle last year and looked at a wide receiver this year?
A step farther, could you have used Jalen Carter instead of Darnell Wright?
Yes.
Like they just showed you can add 3 offensive linemen like it's nothing. So if that's the case, where's that destructive piece in the middle of the defensive line that you gave to Philly for?
And I get it. Carter he had concerns, and we've learned that coaching staff could not have dealt with
Which is
that,
also
right?
on Ryan Poles.
Right. We noticed that they could not have dealt with that. So,
Okay, so I'm not like oblivious to know that, like, I'm not sitting there saying like, oh my God, Ryan Poles is perfect. He's hit on every little thing he's done. There's no GM in this league that does that. So like and like
their pick is in.
All right.
No, you're good.
Oh.
They're not
Oh.
anywhere near announcing it yet.
Oh, so like I feel like to say, well, Ryan Poles has had missed picks. Like that's like saying like this quarterback, Caleb Williams, he threw interceptions this year. Like every GM does that. Every GM is going to have missed picks, and like everyone says the Bears got lucky here. Well, I mean, like
You
the
can't tell
Browns
me
is
that
gonna-
wasn't pure luck that they got the first pick.
I mean,
I'll
honestly,
take it.
sorry, go ahead, Mike. I didn't mean to.
No, Tarbill, you haven't got to say yours. Go ahead.
So I think without a doubt, other than Jerry Angelo, Ryan Poles is the best general manager the Bears have ever had.
And Caleb Williams is the best quarterback they've ever had. It's not saying much.
So
I mean, that's a fair statement too.
Well, we
So-
don't know that about Caleb Williams yet.
Right. And that's
don't
even
know.
worse though.
I'm just saying, like, at this point, Jay Cutler is the best quarterback the Bears have ever had. So, like, you're really not saying that much by saying he's the best GM the Bears have ever had.
And
Like,
so
are you-
realistically
well, are you
too, if
saying
you
that
look
you
at
don't
Ryan
like Ryan-
Pace's
you don't think
draft
Ryan Poles
picks,
is a good GM?
if you look at Ryan Pace's draft picks versus Ryan Poles' draft picks, there's an argument to be made that Pace made better picks than Poles has made so far, other than the quarterback position.
So
is Roquan Smith a good player?
Beyond all pro every
he's
year.
a good
Right?
player, yeah.
Right. They got rid of him. Right. Jalen Johnson, right? That wasn't a Ryan Poles guy, right? That was a Ryan Pace guy. Right. So there's a player for Pace as well. You look at Ryan Poles. What guys has he drafted that are all-stars, that are in the conversation of being all-stars, that are all-team second, third, fourth? None.
Well,
None.
I think
so
you
to be
could.
fair, Ryan Pace's guys are also a little more developed by now. Like we don't know what Stevenson's going to be. We
knew what we knew what Roquan Smith was going to be after the third season. That's why they had to trade him, because he was going to want too much money.
Goodell's at the podium.
They're at the podium.
In the 2025 NFL Draft,
Yep.
the Cleveland Browns select Mason Graham. Defensive
You knew that.
So now this really kind of makes it interesting, because you're 5 picks in. You're 5 picks in. You have, where the hell's the draft order now? You have the Raiders at 6, right?
The Raiders are about to take Genty. And then
is that guaranteed though? Because
I think it is.
I think so too. I think Pete Carroll loves himself a running back, right?
I think Genty's going 6. I think Tyler Warren's going 7. Now that Mason Graham's off, I think they would have taken Mason Graham if he was there. But now he's gone, I think they're going to take Tyler Warren.
I think this is lining up perfectly for the Bears to get to trade back.
Well, yeah, because then you're going to get to 8 with Carolina. They're the wild card. They could go a few different ways. And I think the Saints take a quarterback.
I want your guys' thoughts on drafting a player. Like, let's say the Bears are at 10, right? But the guy they like is a projected 15th pick, 16th pick. If they were to pick him at 10, people would say, oh, they're reaching on this guy. But it's their guy, the guy they like, the guy they wanted. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I always think it's weird. Like, you build up to the draft and you say, no, if this is their favorite guy, they need to draft him. But then you'll hear people like, oh, well, he was a top 10 pick, so he's this or he's that. He's not good enough. Like, if there's a guy there, let's say it's a safety the Bears are looking at. They're like, hey, we want this safety. We're going to take him at 10, so we know that nobody takes him.
So like, I think the way it works, so say you're the Bears, you're sitting at 10, and you like whoever. You like him at 10, but you got him 15. Let's say the safety from Notre Dame, Watts. Let's say you like him at 10. Yeah, let's say you like him at 10, but you got him on your board at 17 is what everybody's got him projected as, but you really like him at 10. So you say, okay, well, I can trade back because I can get him at 15. All it takes is the person going to 12, 13, 14, any of those spots,
right?
Like him too.
Right. And or somebody behind you likes him and they're like, oh, well, I could trade up.
So like when it comes down to 5 picks, like if you really, really, really like somebody, I say take them. Like, if you're Cleveland there, you went.
There's an edge rusher there that's not projected at 10, and the Bears need an edge rush in that position. Well, we still have to see what the Raiders do. But let's say that the Calvin Banks, right? Yeah. That's the guy everybody's talked about. He's projected, what, 15th?
Yeah, right around there.
But the Bears are like, no, this is the guy we want, and they take him at 10. Would you guys be disappointed that they took him at 10 and didn't try to trade back? Or would you be like, no, I'm glad they went out and got the guy that they wanted?
I always say, like, in the first round, especially that high in the first round, like, you set your board. This is the order I like people. And if I get to 10 and that's the top dude I like on my board is that guy, but he's projected to be 17, I don't give a shit who else projects him where they would take him. I like him at 10. I'm taking him at 10. I'm not going to pass on somebody just because somebody, everybody else says, oh, this is where he should go. Well, you know what? This is where I'm picking.
And now don't get me wrong. Obviously, teams should have multiple guys in this position, right? For the ability to be flexible, like the Bears potentially could be. Where they could be like, well, dude, look, we have 2 guys here. We don't think any of the guys from 11, 12, or 13 are going to take him. What if we can trade back, gain a pick, still get one of our guys that we want?
Trade back. Go ahead.
That's ultimately what I'm hoping for. If you can get 4 or 5 players in the top 80 of this draft, you're automatically putting yourself in a position where the odds of at least one of these guys being that blue chip that they talk about, you're automatically increasing your odds. And you've already got lucky that you have 4 of those.
All right,
picks.
let's let Tarbill get a word in. I think Tarbill's trying to. Go ahead, Tarbill.
No, I was just gonna say Ari Mirov just tweeted that the Raiders are taking Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was for them. It was perfect scenario. Was they were gonna stay at 6 and get him.
So,
When Jacksonville traded up to 2, it took the Bears out of trading with Jacksonville. Vegas didn't have to move anywhere to get him.
So now he's up there.
In the 2025 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Ashton Jeanty.
motherfucker.
I mean, like I said,
Jesus.
I said all along it was going to take the Bears trading in front of Vegas to get him. There was no way I saw him getting past Vegas.
So now we shift our focus to what's really important: the offensive and defensive lines.
Right.
What's left that the Bears realistically should be looking for here? I know there's a lot of talent. You still have 3 teams in front of you that need to draft.
At this point, I see 3 positions the Bears could draft. It's either going to be a tackle, an edge, or a tight end.
The only person I think
I don't want them to take a tight end. I know that they could upgrade the position, but that's just me.
Well, so the way I look at it is they have a hole at tight end. Like everyone says they don't, but they do.
Because they play the 12.
Ben Johnson's offense runs the most
tight
end sets in football. You don't have a second tight end.
No.
So that is a giant hole. Plus, let's be honest, Cole Kmet has not separated himself from a lot of the tight ends in the league as a premier tight end.
Well, yeah, it's also hard when he's on the line to block most of the
right.
I don't care.
And that's fair though. That's a fair argument.
He's been in the league long enough. This isn't 1 year we're talking about.
I'm saying when he's actually gotten the chance, he's produced.
All we do is sit back and make excuses for dudes. At some point, dudes just got to go get the football.
Well, I'm agreeing with you.
He doesn't go get the football.
I'm agreeing with you. We do have a hole at tight end, but I don't think Kmet's as bad as you made him out to be.
My problem with Kmet is I feel like once he gets the ball, doesn't it seem like he kind of like gets sluggish?
So where would you rank him in the league?
I'd probably say top 15.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's
around
15.
Yeah.
I don't think it's disrespectful. I think that's the top 2 guys.
I'm not saying he's elite. I'm just saying he's a good tight end.
I know, but you said that I made it out to be like he's this horrible player. I said he's average.
Right, and I said I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a hole in the tight end position. I want the only guy I'm willing to take at 10. So it's hard because if they take Warren at 10, I'm kind of okay with it because I think he's gonna be a stud. I'm personally a little higher on Loveland than I am Warren, but like I'm almost at the point where like if you look at Michael Williams, if you look at Banks, if you look at Warren, I don't know if so it's kind of to answer your question, Ace, about like if you have a guy that's mid-level, I think it depends. Like as a Bears fan, I've seen so many times where they were too scared to go get their guy and they didn't, and then they missed out on him.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of like if you like him and you want your guy, go get him. But at the same time, like if there's 3 guys you like and you can move back to like 14 and you're like, as long as one of those 3 are there, I'm good. And then you get like an extra second in the process.
Can I change the answer for a minute?
I had a question about the Bears 10th pick real quick.
Go ahead. I after that I want to talk about this pick.
What if there's a situation where the Bengals call Ryan Poles and they say, hey, we'll give you 17 and what's his name? Trey Hendrickson for number 10.
I'll make that in a heartbeat.
Right?
I'm doing a no question.
Right, no question. Okay, cool. Because I mean, if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm on the phone with them right now. And I'm like, hey, we have a couple guys that we're looking at. We'd be willing to swap first. You give us him. We call it a day. I mean, you might have to throw some other things in there too. And I know you'll eventually have to pay him, which could be a problem because they are
you're essentially you're pretty much getting above good, closer to like great linemen. So you're kind of filling a need with Hendrickson. Right. So you're getting that 17th pick and you just saved a position you don't really need a draft for. So you're almost getting a free first round pick if you make that trade.
Right. And then you have the option to go and get a tight end or get that tackle that you need. I think that wouldn't be – I would not be upset if he decided to do that, other than I don't know how you're going to pay all these guys because now you have a lot of guys. You still have to extend Tooney, right?
Look, the Rams have made it the most clearest thing in the world that you can pay anybody you want to pay, and
That's
just
true.
keep kicking it down the road as long as you want.
That's true.
Right. Salary cap manipulation is a very real thing, my
That's
friends.
why people have jobs in the NFL. They got jobs to figure it out. Look, I
Right.
want to get this guy.
So now watch the Bears where they have 2 second-round picks. I am pretty confident with one of those second-round picks, they're going to take Trevion Henderson out of Ohio State.
Now, would you? Is that a situation where you might look at moving up back into the late part of the first round?
I don't see them moving back up to the first round. I think they're gonna stay at 10 or trade back, but I don't see them trading up at this point. I don't. I think they're gonna use that.
He's saying.
I know what he's saying. He's saying trade back up into the late end of the first round.
What if they? I just love throwing scenarios out there.
10.
I just love playing what if guy.
Yeah.
Let's say you move back from 10,
Yeah.
get an extra second, right? You get that first round pick, you package that next second you got, and something else to move back into the first round and get the running back that you want.
If Henderson is there though, like I don't see Henderson falling past where the Bears pick in the second round. I really don't.
Now, Turtle, you said you wanted to talk about that pick.
Yeah. So there's obviously, I feel like Gentry's been one of the most talked about players in his draft nationally, not just here. You know, the Bears it's been a lot of talk about the Bears. I think it's been, another year that they said the Bears have been basically dominating the draft talk because of all the different things they talked about. Mike, obviously Mike feels way different than you do about Gentry, Ace.
Right.
My question is, when I look at him, I see him make a lot of guys not able to tackle him, but I also see him get brought down from behind a lot. He doesn't have that breakaway speed.
I mean, he ran a 4.4, so I mean, he's
right. You guys are running 4.28. 4.4 is not fast anymore.
No, I know 4.4 with his strength is pretty good.
I don't care about pretty good. I'm talking about you're taking a guy 6th overall. You're talking about the Bears were talking about trading up for a guy who.
So do you think the Raiders made a bad decision?
I don't know that they made a bad decision because they didn't have to give up anything for him.
That's fair.
But when we were talking about the Bears moving up for this guy and him being a generational talent, he's getting caught from behind by college football players. Do you know? Hold on.
Yeah, but
hold on.
All right, I only have 5 more minutes, so go ahead.
That doesn't matter to me.
I know.
He gets brought down by college football players. Guys in the NFL are even faster than that. Linebackers are faster than that. Holes are not there that there are in college. That you get to the NFL and there's way better defenses. I just don't know that he is a guy that is going to go out there and dominate. Like everybody's talking about, he's going to go out there and break the rushing record his rookie year. Like he's a sure thing Hall of Famer. Like I just think the biggest thing in the NFL is if you can't run away from people in college, you're not away from people in the NFL.
But look at his comps, right? Everybody's saying that he's like a combination of Saquon Barkley.
In the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Armand Membu, Missouri.
Membu off the board.
I had
might take it 10.
I placed a bet 2 weeks ago that the Jets were going to make that pick, so I just hit that bet on that guy going there.
Awesome.
This is
going back to
it feels like
Gentry,
it's leaning more to the Bears picking a tight end at number 10.
Yeah, I thought the Jets would go Warren, and then I thought the Bears would go Membo at 10, and then move right over to left tackle.
So going back to Ashton Gentry for a minute, Vince, I was very high on Ashton Gentry. I think everybody here knows that. Did I want to trade up for him? No, it didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't want to give away extra draft capital, but I wouldn't have been absolutely heartbroken if they did either. I think Ashton Gentry is the first back that's came out in a long time that's going to be the real deal day one bona fide blue chip stud at the position. And I do understand that there's a lot of running backs depth in this draft. I mean, you could get a guy like the running back from Iowa in the 5th round, right?
Caleb Johnson.
I don't
know if you can get him the 5th, but you could get him late. You can get him late. 3rd or 4th round.
So 3rd or 4th round. either way, both the Ohio State backs will probably go in the second round. There's a lot of.
I can see one of them going I could see 3 running backs go in the first round. I would not be surprised if Hampton and one of the Ohio State guys went. Probably Henderson went in the first round. Mike, before you go, I just have one question. Everyone talks about the Bears, Ben Johnson needing that Sonic and Knuckles thing that he had with Gibbs and Montgomery. In that scenario, who would Genty be for the Bears? Would he be Gibbs or would he be Montgomery?
I think it'd be more Gibbs. Well,
the only problem with that is Gibbs runs 4.28.
Well, Gibbs is one of the fastest running backs in this league. But
so
I mean, like,
that's my whole point. Like, Swift isn't that guy. Swift isn't going to be your Gibbs guy. So if he's not, then what is Genty doing for you? He's just a better version of Swift. So then you still haven't got your duo. You haven't got that power guy. You haven't got the David Montgomery guy.
I don't think you necessarily like. It's more like fans that are sitting there saying that he needs a Sonic and Knuckles. I don't think Ben Johnson.
I've heard a lot of people who've forgotten more about football than I'll ever know say that.
So yeah, I mean, like, and that's people's opinions, and that's fine. But they're saying that because he just did so well with that in Detroit. I don't think he absolutely needs it, but I mean, like, there's like college guys. If you're just talking about pure speed, there's college players. You're saying Genty got run down by college players. There's college players that run super fast that can be on any team. So I mean, like, you got a guy like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry gets chased down from behind too. Yeah, Barkley gets chased down from, like, none of those guys are like super speedy guys. But like,
agreed.
Like his Genty's movement, the way he can just stop and move and find a hole with the strength of like breaking through a guy. Like, they better have him really wrapped up or else he's breaking loose.
So what makes him worth trading up to 5 or 4, wherever they were going to have to go, than just drafting Omar?
I'm not saying I wanted them to trade up. I said if they traded up, I wouldn't be mad at. I wouldn't be like,
what separates him from Hampton and them guys?
Just the way you mix his speed with his power with his movement of finding a hole.
Isn't that the same thing Omari and Hampton is?
No.
Wow.
No.
What is it not? He does all those same things you just mentioned.
Hampton is nowhere near the strength that Genty has.
So strength
is a lot to trade off.
I do like Hampton though. I do like Hampton. I do.
So to me, Hampton is 1 and Genty is 1A. Like, he's in a class of his own.
I just don't know that he would have fit the Bears for what everyone says why the Bears should get him. So I just was very interested.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this before I go. If say we take Ace's scenario where the Bengals trade 17 and Hendrickson to the Bears and the Bears fall back to 17, would you like, love, or hate if the Bears took Hampton at that spot?
I think it's fine. I think he fills a need of theirs, and you're getting him at 17. You got Hampton and Hendrickson for the price you would have got Genty. And in that case, I'd much rather have Hampton and Hendrickson than just Genty.
And you filled one of the biggest needs on your team with the trade right off the bat. You know,
if not big needs. Like, so you got a, what everybody thinks is a premier running back in Omari and Hampton, and you got Hendrickson, which is a huge need. He's going to sit there and start a defense. He's your best edge player. It makes Montez Sweat your second.
Better than Montez Sweat?
Absolutely, Hendrickson's better than Montez Sweat.
I think Sweat's a little overhyped, if I'm being honest. Like, I think he's a good
Sweat got double and triple
I don't think
last year. The same way
Khalil Mack have a better year.
Look,
we got rid of Mack.
I think Montez Sweat is a very good football player. I think he's not a 1. It's the same reason he wasn't a 1 in Washington with Chase Young.
Oh, he was definitely the 1 between him and Chase Young.
I don't think
absolutely.
So. Okay. That's fine.
In my opinion, I guess that
I think Chase Young helped him get a lot of sacks because people were trying to run away from Chase Young. You see Sweat gets there and he gets back there and they just run away because there's nobody on the other side. It was the same effect in Washington when Chase Young flushed guys out. Sweat was there to clean it up. Don't get me wrong. I love Montez Sweat. I think he's a great football player. I'm super glad he's a Chicago Bear. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy. Right. But Hendrickson would by far be the number 1.
So I'm gonna piggyback real quick. I'm trying to buy a few minutes to hang out with you guys. I'm gonna piggyback off Ace's point earlier.
Podium. Go ahead. I'll let you know when the pick's in.
Do we feel at there is anyone worth taking at 10? Or do you feel like there's so much guys you can take to trade back?
With the 8th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver.
Makes a lot of sense. Get a big weapon for Bryce Young.
Get a DJ Moore because you traded DJ Moore to the Bears.
At this point, Mike, I would rather them trade back at 10. I feel like there's a few options that they could play with in terms of players that they could decide to go with.
It depends how far you're moving back.
Right. I don't want them to move back to like 23. But if you go back to 13, 14, 15,
right.
I would love that.
I would say like that 14. Yeah, I would say that 14 to 17 range.
In an ideal world right here, the Saints take a quarterback.
Yeah, you got so many options.
That means you have Tyler Warren, you have Loveland, you have Banks, you have all the edge guys. No edges have gone yet.
You know who I think the Saints go? I think they go Jalen Walker.
I mean, I think it's either him or one of the quarterbacks. Those are the only two people. These only two things I could see them taking. If McMillan was there, I could have seen them going and getting him.
Yeah, me too.
With him being gone, I actually thought it would be flipped. I thought, Saints pick is in already. I thought Carolina was gonna take Walker, and then the Saints would take McMillan. But now I think it's flipped. I think with that happening and them taking McMillan, now I think you're going to see the Saints take Jalen Walker.
So if you're looking at it right now, who all went so far? Travis Hunter.
You went Cam Ward,
Michael Carter,
and Travis Hunter.
Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Genty.
Campbell was 4. 5 was
Graham was 5.
And you had Genty. And then you had
so Banks, Stewart is still there.
Mel's best available was Sanders, Warren, Loveland, and I forget the other two that was up there.
In terms of offensive tackle, just out of curiosity,
the only one left is Banks.
Right.
I really don't want to take Banks at 10 though.
So let's pause, guys, real quick, because this is the 9th pick, right? The Bears are up next. Let's do a very quick recap what we think the Bears are doing when they're at the podium next. Or, I mean, if your answer is they trade back, that's your answer. But I'm going to say they go Warren at 10. Ace?
I think they – I'm trying to think if it's more important for them to take a tackle right now.
What we think.
Well, what we think's going to happen.
We think. I think
you can tell me what you want, too.
I think they try to trade back, and if they can't, I think they take an edge rusher.
I think they take Tyler Warren. I would like to see them take either Banks or an edge.
So you think they take Tyler Warren,
Banks,
but you don't want to see him go tight end at 10 is what
see,
you're
like
saying,
that's Mike, I agree. Like I would much rather see them trade back and try to get
it just all depends how far back you're trading. Like,
right.
If you trade back from 10, let's just assume it's for somebody to take Tyler Warren.
Right.
That means Banks is still there. Loveland is still there.
Because the drop for tackles is massive. After
the edges are still there, and in my mind, I know it's a minority, but in my mind, Will Johnson's still there.
I like Will Johnson a lot.
I know that wasn't the original plan, but if you can get another version of Jalen Johnson, but with better hands, like I understand certain people think like Stevenson's still a guy you can count on, but at this point, you just don't know. It is still a question mark. Like, yeah, you think you're going to get what you saw out of Stevenson 2 years ago, not what you saw out of him last year. But what if you don't? What if he stays that way? Kyler Gordon is a nickel. He's not going to line up on the outside and play against the best receivers in football.
Right.
That's not his game.
What if Josh Simmons falls to the second round?
Who?
Josh Simmons.
if he falls to the second round, to one of the Bears picks in the second round. Well, I mean, it depends what you've done with your first.
He would. I'm telling you, he would have been a top 10 pick if he did not get injured, and he's healthy now.
Right, absolutely. I'm just saying with it, if you're gonna go, because I just think at one point Will Johnson was a top 5 pick. He had a great year. Just other guys did different things of teams that need. If you could trade back and get a Will Johnson, like I'm good with that. There's like I said, if you could trade back to, I don't know, 13 to 15, I wouldn't want to go any farther back than 15.
I even like worst case scenario. I like Connor Lee. He's a good tackle out of Oregon. He'd be a good second round pick too.
Honestly, I think the best thing that the Bears could do, looking at the guys that are left, is trade back. To try to trade back to around the 15th range.
Yeah.
Because then you get yourself some more draft capital, and you can kind of take your pick from a few of the guys that are still left. I think the Saints are up already. Damn, this is going quick.
This is going to be the most interesting pick in the draft.
We're already an hour in.
NFL Draft. The New Orleans Saints select Kelvin Banks Jr.
Wow.
So
that is a reach.
Now I feel the Bears either go edge or tight end, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but you didn't.
Warren. It's got to be Warren. There. If they stay at 10, it's Warren, in my opinion. There's no way they go.
I don't hate it. I just think that the tight end isn't like. I know it's a need because of the offense that's ran.
I would absolutely love for the Bears to take Jalen Walker right now. I by no means that I think he would be there at 10. I think that's a steal.
I didn't either. I honestly did not think there was any way that he was not falling in. I thought he was a for sure top 10 pick. That would not be a bad pick at all, actually.
We got Brandon in the chat. Tight end all day.
So the Bears, the 49ers.
So who's the tight end?
Now you got to look at
Brandon,
what are the
Loveland
teams behind the Bears that would potentially
Warren
need. You know what I mean? Like, and who would be willing to trade, I guess, is the next thing. You know, do you look at the Dolphins?
Ace, bring the screen up. They're talking Bears, baby. Bring the screen up.
His health and his family, it never distracted him. He was
Bears pick is in. They knew who the fuck they wanted.
They had like 4.5 minutes left when they said the pick was in.
Big, heavy hands, got a nasty playing personality. He can pass protect with the very best of them, and the New Orleans Saints need it. They're one of the very worst teams in the NFL in terms of pass block win rate in 2024. You're right, Mel. They better find a quarterback in order to protect and someone who can help them compete in the South and in the NFC overall. But this guy's
the fact that they got that in that quick tells me it's either Jalen Walker or Warren. That's the only guys I see that sold on.
And it kind of goes with how Mickey Loomis built his team. 8 out of the last 10 picks, Rennie, have been offensive linemen for defensive linemen for Mickey Loomis and the Saints. He understands how to build this team. Yeah, he may need a quarterback, but this is a young man. He's got to play. He's got to finish a little bit more, finish his blocks. But I love, as Lewis says, a building block for the Saints as they look for their quarterback in the future that they have to get at some point.
In our countdown show, Adam Schefter suggested
in my head, I completely didn't even consider Jalen Walker being here at 10. I would low-key love that pick.
Join us, Laura.
Ladies and gentlemen, NFL fans everywhere, hold on to your hats because boy, do we have an announcement for you live from the heart of the NFL draft right here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's right, Colleen. The schedule release marks a pivotal moment in the NFL calendar. It sets the stage for a thrilling season. Yeah, this is when we get to geek out over every single game and bye week, primetime revenge and rematches, those late season divisional dates that end up.
Why do we have to do this shit right before the Bears pick? Come on.
Lambeau in December. Ooh, we're gonna have to find out. You'll find out soon, okay? How about these rookies, the players who are drafted here tonight? When and where do they make their NFL debuts? We're gonna find that out as well. Let's not forget the expanding lineup of international games as well as Christmas, Thanksgiving Day. There's so many captivating matchups. It's the best. Yes, because nothing says holiday cheer like watching your team destroy.
Oh, can we just get the Bears pick in or what?
Oh, come on, for real, bro.
Mark your calendars, set your alarms. The schedule will be dropped on
This is not more important, I think.
There we go.
This is not more important than the Bears.
You can
It's
tweet
May
it out,
14th.
and don't miss it. Be sure to check out all the great content from the NFL team sites, the club social channels around.
You couldn't put that on during the commercial break? Like, good God.
As well as ESPN, so much full coverage of the thrilling 2025 matchups. May 14th just around the corner. I know. It's basically
They're
here.
they're finally off the screen.
Buckle up for the greatest season
Yeah,
of
we
your
see
lives.
it.
I'm gonna not watch my TV, so I'm not surprised. I don't want to give anything away reaction wise.
That's what I'm doing. I muted my TV.
Fuck the Packers.
I wish they could, like, when the Bears pick is in, and then like put "fuck the Packers" underneath it.
Now, and that is because the Chicago Bears have just been announced as on the clock, and in fact, their pick is already in. There is no rivalry.
Hold on, we gotta do one thing real quick. Bring Turtle back. Bring Turtle
I
back.
didn't kick Turtle out.
My bad. I just wanted to play this. That's all I wanted to play real quick.
Okay, you're doing entirely too much right now. Add the screen back up there.
We're good. I just wanted to do the Packers suck.
Yesterday, the NFL family lost
Mondo.
Bears Hall of Famer Steve McMichael. My heart is with the McMichael family during this incredibly difficult time. Misty, please know that you are in our thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts.
Mongo's remarkable contributions to the game and the community will never be forgotten. His legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. 50 years ago, with the fourth pick in the 1975 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears selected one of Steve McMichael's teammates and closest friends, Walter Payton, running back, Jackson State. Walter would go on to rush for nearly 17,000 yards and 110 touchdowns.
I bet Packer
over
fans probably be
13
hating the
seasons,
shit out of this right now.
all with the Chicago Bears.
I'm loving that this is in Green
As
Bay
you
right
heard
now.
earlier, the NFL continues to honor Sweetness not only for his performance and excellence on the field, but also his commitment to give back to his community.
All right.
With the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award. So with the 10th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan.
Wow. Wow.
Grew up on a farm in Bliss, Idaho, which has a population of 258 people. He caught his first.
Well,
I'm shocked by that.
I mean, I'm not shocked. I think you heard tight end a lot, and Mike and I both said.
There were some mock drafts of him going to the Bears at 10 too. There's a lot of people that
we like him better than Warren.
The outrageous sway in picks and positions
Oh,
that the draft took for the Bears is wild.
San Francisco pick is in already.
And I mean, I've said from the start I'm higher on Loveland than I am Warren.
So now does this kind of take them out of the running for a running back in the second round because you still have defensive line and offensive line you need to address?
So
I don't think you necessarily have to address offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they're not.
Did they give an extension to Tooney that I didn't hear about?
Well, I mean,
No, but Ryan
already
Poles
said
said
it
the other day that
probably
that's the next step. That's the priority now.
They already said he's a priority to extend, and I mean,
Yeah.
Just because he's a priority doesn't mean that they're going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, my priority when I buy a lottery ticket is to hit the lottery, but
no, that's your hope.
Lottery.
That's not your priority.
Priorities.
You have no con- you
My
have no
priority is to
control.
go buy the ticket to win the lottery.
You have no control over if you win or not. You have every control over if you sign him or not.
unless he doesn't, unless you can't offer him enough money.
Let's put it this way: I would be 100% shocked if they don't extend Tooney. They're going to extend him. It's going to happen. That's a.
But don't you want to kind of get younger on the offensive line too, and defensive line?
Yeah, but you can't do it all in 1 year. You can't go get a bunch of starters and then also get guys that are younger than them. Like, it just doesn't happen. So they did the offensive line. They might not address left tackle. Braxton Jones wasn't horrible.
I just want them to address the edge, and I believe.
But you can do that.
Colonel, I think your guy jumped into the green room.
Okay, I just think you can get an edge in the second round. I don't think there was a tight end you could get that would be anywhere near him or Warren in the second round. That's just my opinion.
I feel like they could have traded back. I guess that's my thought on this whole thing.
But we talked about, what if this was their guy? What if they had him higher than some of the guys that got picked already?
Ecosystem.
I guess.
And we must
then
protect
you don't trade back. You go and you get your guy.
Together, we can discover the.
All right. I'm gonna jump off for like 2 seconds. I'm gonna cut my cam for a couple seconds, but we do have a guest in the green room, so I'll be right back.
All right, fellas. Yeah, I tried to buy more time to hang out with you guys for at least through the Bears pick, but I gotta head out. I stayed a little longer than I should have, but I just wanted to talk football and see the Bears pick with you guys. So
appreciate it. What's
awesome.
your thoughts on Loveland?
I love it. I mean, I know I've been very vocal of how I like Loveland more than I like Warren, but I mean, I know Vince, I know you kind of came around to that same idea, but I really thought, other than that, I thought I was in the minority. I did not think that there's any way the Bears would have taken him, but I absolutely love that they do. I think he's going to be the better tight end in the league over Warren. I truly believe that.
I think Warren and Kmet are closer to each other than of like play styles are
100%.
closer to each other than Loveland and Kmet. So if you're going to get, that other type of tight end, go get the one that's different than what you already have.
Right. 100%. I agree. All right, fellas. I appreciate
Mike,
you guys.
Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks for jumping on, and
sure.
Have a good rest of your night. Talk to you later. All right, Vince. Well, I think with that, we have a perfect opportunity to bring in our guest.
Yeah, let's bring Eric in.
Now that we have a seat open. So we got Eric, contributor from Windy City Gridiron, joining us live with the reaction to the Chicago Bears pick. Eric, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I don't have quite the man cave that all of you have, so well done to all of you. Bit of a work in progress here, but it's
we're all dealing with work in progresses.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to jump on with us.
Yeah, we know draft time is busy for everybody that does this, so we appreciate anybody who gives up some of their time to jump on with us. I'd love to get your opinion of the Bears staying at 10 and taking Loveland. We were talking a little bit before that they might trade back, with seeing as how many guys had kind of fallen that you could see the Bears taking. Thought they might go edge and take Jalen Walker. They decided to go tight end and get Ben Johnson, another toy, and get him. I think he's better than Warren for the Bears. I think he fits what the Bears don't have. But we'd love to get your opinion on that move by the Bears.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. My overall initial reaction is a bit of a surprise because I did not have Loveland as the number one tight end. I had Tyler Warren as number one overall tight end. So to see him picked by the Bears at 10, a little bit of a surprise. Also a little bit of surprise that with the players still on the board, they decided to stay at 10. At the same time, though, one thing about Copeland Loveland is he is that joker tight end, similar to a Sam Laporta with the Detroit Lions that Ben Johnson absolutely loved to use in 12 personnel groupings. And to be fair, he is a big offensive weapon for Caleb Williams. It's a pick that I don't hate. I'm not over the moon about this pick. But then again, really the one player I would have been over the moon for would have been Ashton Jonte, and he went to the Raiders at 6. So for me, I don't hate the pick. I think it's fine at 10th overall. We'll see how he turns out in Chicago. He's going to pair pretty nicely with Cole Kmet at tight end. He's going to be that big target with Keenan Allen almost surely going to be moving away to a different team next year for this next season. You need a big guy. And Copeland Loveland is that big target for the Bears.
So, Eric, does this mean how it kind of shook up that the Bears feel confident in the offensive line that they're going to have next season going in with, all the additions that they added, some of the guys that they have from last season that they're hoping, Amagaji did not look great at the end of last season. But, do they feel like this is the group that they're going to move forward with this year? Or do you see them using one of these second round picks to try to improve somewhere along the offensive line?
I see it more as a later because, to be fair, you had 3 offensive tackles go earlier than expected. Started with Will Campbell at number 4. Then you had Membu go at 7. Then you had Kelvin Banks Jr. go right before them at 9. And for me, I think the Bears were predetermined to take an offensive tackle or Braxton Jones replacement with either second-round picks tomorrow. It felt like that was going to be the most likely path. Dating back to months ago when Ryan Poles said there will be competition added against Braxton Jones. It wasn't some sort of myth. It wasn't some sort of fluff. It was just eventually they're going to have competition, and I really do think one of those 2 second-round picks tomorrow night will be an offensive tackle.
So does this – I know that they like to run the 12 personnel. Is this kind of a sign that, I believe Cole Kmet's cap hit next season at the end of next year is only a $4 million cap hit. Is this a situation where you think that they would look to move off of Cole Kmet, or are you thinking that they're just going to try to run this duo for the next few years?
I think I'm going to try to run it for the next few years. I think they have a pretty good duo in place because what Cole Kmet does well, he's a very balanced, wide tight end. You can put him in line. You can have him block. You can have him in the red zone. Very similar to a lot of other Notre Dame tight ends we've seen thrive in the league. And then you look at it takes me a while to get used to the name Copeland Loveland. He's more of that athletic freak, that matchup nightmare, that receiver in a tight end's body type of player. So they play 2 different roles. I think the idea is going to be to try and roll both players as long as possible. I think more so you have to start thinking not 2 years from now, but like 4 to 5 years from now, when Copeland Loveland is up for his contract. That's when I think you have to start making those tough decisions.
I know you were hurting me.
In terms of what's next, right? They have the 2 second-round picks. Is there any specific player that you see that the Bears could potentially look at? I know edge rusher is still somebody that I feel the Bears really need to address. We talked about running back was a huge name for this first round for the Bears with Genty, but obviously the Raiders picked him. What direction do you think the Bears look to go with these next 2 picks?
Trenches. And let me make sure I correct myself. I'm saying Colston Loveland, not Cole. You know what I mean? Colston Loveland. But I think they're going to go back to the trenches in the next 2 picks. 1 offensive tackle, 1 defensive end. 1 defensive end I'm a big fan of. Little iffy if he fits, but if you want best pass rusher available, you got to look at a Mike Green. If he's still there for them in the second day. Just a nasty, ferocious pass rushing threat that you can plug behind guys like Montez Sweat and the rest of the crew of the defensive end. And it's just, when I look at Mike Green, he would be an absolutely tremendous fit for the Bears if they want a true pass rushing menace with one of those 2 second-round picks. And then for the other second-round pick, I'm looking at the offensive tackle Connerly from Oregon. I think he'd be a really good fit if he's still there in the second round as well.
Do you see a scenario where the Bears potentially trade back into the first round?
Absolutely. I think if the player they absolutely want, maybe like a Josh Simmons from Ohio State, if he somehow makes it to I think the last 5 picks of the first round, maybe then the Bears consider trying to trade up, because the big deal about trading up in the first to get a guy instead of waiting until day 2 is not just they want to absolutely guarantee themselves of picking a guy like Josh Simmons if he's there, but also you select a player in that first round, you get that 5th year option available to you as well for contract purposes. So they really like a player and they want to pick him in the first round. I think there is that potential for the Bears to find a move to go back into the end of the first round.
Now, I'm not sure, what that would cost. Do you have any idea what it might cost for them to potentially move back up? Let's say the last 3 picks of the draft, would they have to give up both those second-round picks, or is it something where they could, maybe lose one this year and then possibly trade some picks from next season?
This year when they discussed trades potentially being 70 cents to the dollar, I think you might be able to get away with splitting the draft compensation between 2 years. Say if you want to trade a 3rd round pick this year and then a draft pick next year, or some combination between 2025, 2026 to move up in the first round, maybe you get away with that this year. But for me, it really depends on who is down and available within the last 5 picks of the first round. And then the other big hypothetical for me is how many of these teams are waiting for quarterbacks to fall that late in the first round too?
Right.
Because you have to think they won't be competing for the same player, but a bunch of other teams will be panicking and say, well, wait a minute, maybe I want that Shedeur Sanders if he's still there at the end of the first round. Or maybe someone falls in love with Jackson Dart and they want to move up and say, well, wait a minute, we got to get this pick regardless of who the Bears want so they can guarantee themselves their quarterback. So it's a great question, to figure out. It really depends on who is actually there in the last, say, 5 to 10 picks.
So the draft has kind of taken an odd turn. We've had San Francisco picked after the Bears. They took Michael Williams, the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And now the Dallas Cowboys went, and they took all of about a minute for them to get their pick in. They took Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama.
You have the best true guard in this draft class, Tyler Booker. Not that athletic, but for me, it doesn't really matter too much in the interior. He's just one big, nasty dude. And, Dallas, they have a lot of work cut out for them to rebuild that offensive line, and Tyler Booker is step number 1.
So when Ryan Poles spoke a couple days ago, they talked about the potential of moving Wright to left tackle. Is there some benefit to that in terms of depth at the right tackle position in this draft versus the left tackle position if they were able to?
I think the main one was Membo. I think he went a lot earlier than anybody thought he would.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I thought about for the last couple of days is it is a legitimate option for Darnell Wright to move over to left tackle, kind of like what Tristan Wirfs just did in Tampa Bay. And really, Darnell Wright has played left tackle before when he was at Tennessee. In fact, I do remember some people saying that left tackle was his preferred position in college because, of course, people think the big money goes on the left side, so you want to play the blind side if you can. But it would not be the first time that Darnell Wright has played left tackle. It's just maybe he's not as good of a fit at left tackle on paper as he is currently at right tackle. But then again, this is a whole new coaching staff. And one thing I really respect about Dan Roshar, he has a history of taking players, moving to a different position, and he just gets magic. He just gets success out of his offensive lines when he was with the New Orleans Saints. So if Dan Roshar is convinced that Darnell Wright is a left tackle, let him do his thing. Let him be that offensive line coach. Let him move Darnell Wright if he wants to. That being said, though, I still think, again, you do have left tackles that can start day one that'll pop up in the beginning of the second round. And at the very least, they'll be able to compete with Braxton Jones at left tackle. So we'll just have to wait and see what shakes out. But Darnell Wright to left tackle is not just a possibility, but I think depending on what happens today and tomorrow, it's a realistic option for the Bears to consider.
So with them going tight end, obviously, I think a lot of us, we thought that was a possibility. I was kind of hoping, a lot of people wanted Genty. I was kind of hoping they'd go edge rusher. I think that would have left the door open for a second day running back to be selected. Is this a situation where you think that Ben Johnson looks at the running back room and says, we have Swift for this year and Roshan, let's just run with them for this year and focus on running back next year? Or do you see a scenario where, they do potentially look at running back in the second round?
I really think, actually, I'm going to just withdraw a little bit what I said earlier. I think if the right running back is there with either their second round picks, they're taking that guy. I think with the way that Ben Johnson wants to play football, he wants that all-encompassing, all-down threat of running back. DeAndre Swift is a good complementary piece, but he's not a true 3-down player, at least for what Ben Johnson, because we saw how Ben Johnson used him in Detroit, and it was a complementary type role instead of the guy. And oddly enough, the Detroit Lions then sign a guy like David Montgomery, and he becomes the bell cow back, and then you draft Jahmyr Gibbs to be the complementary piece. So I think what the Bears are looking for in the second round in a very deep draft class for running backs, I still think between now and the end of the night, we're going to have probably 2 more running backs picked in the first round. I really like Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I think he's just that ideal fit. He's not the flashiest guy, but he will always pick up 4 to 6 yards per carry. I mean, he's a big dude. He reminds me a lot of Matt Forte without the finesse. Very just downhill runner, very gritty runner who would fit perfectly in what Ben Johnson would want in his all-around running back. Can catch the ball out the backfield, can pass protect. Someone like a Caleb Johnson, or maybe if Travion Henderson falls that low in the second round, he'd be a perfect pick at 39. It'd be very curious which 2 running backs are picked tonight after Ashton Jeanty, but I really think in the second round, the Bears are poised to pick at least 1 player from the trenches, whether it's offensive tackle or defensive end, and a running back.
So if you had to decide which was more important trench-wise, a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, which do you feel the Bears are most likely to look at as a high priority need with these next 2 picks?
I think offensive tackle, because it's like not so much what the Bears did in free agency, it's more like what they did not do. And what they did do in free agency, so they beef up their defensive line considerably. Dayo Odeyingbo at defensive end, Grady Jarrett at defensive tackle. I think those 2 guys are going to see a lot of snaps. They did not add competition in offensive tackle, and I think that kind of opens the door for them to take an offensive tackle, especially since you have that all-pro veteran and Joe Tooney at left guard. That's a perfect player to plug a rookie at left tackle next to and watch him develop, because you have all that pressure, all that knowledge to back you up as a young left tackle. That being said, though, if there is a player they absolutely love, and I mean love, at defense end, like maybe a Nick Scroton out of Texas A&M, maybe they go that direction and wait until round 3 for offensive tackle. But in my personal opinion, I think offensive tackle will be higher on the priority board.
Who's Dolphins are up right now with their pick?
Yeah, I've not paid attention to Twitter, man. Twitter's the biggest spoiler right now. I'm like paying off it.
Yep, I turned my notifications off for Twitter every year for the first round of the draft.
Yep.
I think I have it muted.
Kenneth Grant? What? Man.
Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan.
That's a guy I loved out of Michigan, too. Big, nasty, just a brick wall. And I'm just like, I see Omari and Hampton right there. I wonder if he's the next running back to go.
I thought his endurance, the stamina played a
Yeah,
role.
I really do. Like, we talked about this for the whole first half of the show about where what we would if Jeanty was off the board and the Bears were at 10. I still think that I would have liked to have seen them trade back a little bit just to pick up some extra capital. I think it kind of lays this next few rounds, the second and third round. If they can play it right, I personally think, edge rusher was where I would go next. But I do see the situation with the left tackle. It's now safety is also an area that pops up. I know Brisker, when healthy, has been phenomenal, especially in the blitz game. But that's the question, right? Can we rely on him to stay healthy? You missed 10 games, whether all 10 of those were because of the injury or, you get to a point in the
5
season
were
where
because you didn't like Matt Eberflus.
Right.
Yeah.
The season's lost. Why rush him back? Do you see a scenario where they feel confident in that position with Brisker, or is there somebody that you would maybe look at later in the 4th round, 5th round area that they could probably take a look at?
Yeah, that's such a hard question because I really don't know what the long-term outlook for Jaquan Brisker is. He's a fantastic football player, and I think Brian Poles wants to see him really blossom this year, stay healthy the whole year, and be that, Mike Brown type of force when healthy. And you have Kevin Byard, who still played very good football last year, even at his age. Of course, when you see a safety leading your team in tackles, that's not a good sign because that means your defensive line didn't do jack when stopping the run. So at the same time, I really think if the right player is there at, say, the third round, you pull the trigger on the safety. I think this is an ideal time to look at safety. And that's, to your point, I think if the Bears were to trade down a couple spots, maybe pick up a 2, maybe pick up a 3, that would make it that much easier to get, offensive tackle, defensive end, running back, and safety between rounds 2 and 3. But now they have 3 picks left in the top 75. Still can get some great football players, but now you have to start choosing, okay, what's the lowest on my priority list? And compared to offensive tackle, pass rush, and running back, I think safety does come in at 4. So you have to start thinking about day 3. Maybe even they go the cut down market with veterans that are going to be cut in the next couple of days, a couple of weeks. Maybe they bring a competition from that route, or maybe even pull a last second trade for a player that's on the trade block. But yeah, it's definitely a great question to ask right now because you've got players when healthy between Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker, 2 of the best safeties and their respective parts in the league. But also health and age are such a big, big question.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric, for giving us the time and giving us some insight there. We do appreciate you joining us and providing your opinion on what the Bears should do next, as well as some different scenarios. So, again, thank you. If you want to give everybody a quick mention here, let everybody know where to follow you before we let you go, we would appreciate it.
Hey, thank you very much. So you can find me on Twitter, or, well, I still call it Twitter. I don't care what they call it, X, whatever.
We do too.
It's Twitter. But you can find me at eDurwachter. You can also find me at Windy City Gridiron, the greatest Chicago Bears blog on the planet. So you can just tune on in tonight. I'll still be up for the rest of the show. You can catch me guys tomorrow as well. But it's, not the most exciting night, but also not a bad night.
Yeah.
It
seems like a safe pick, especially with the offense.
There we go. It's a safe pick.
It is a safe pick.
It's a player, and to be fair, Colston is going to have an impact in day 1. That's all you ask for in a top 10 pick. Are they an impact in day 1? The answer in his case is going to be yes, just in a different way than expected.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Eric. We do appreciate you joining us. As always, go give the guys a look at Windy City Gridiron. They're pumping out great content over there. Give Lester a shout out for us. We'll be seeing him next week. So
absolutely. Hey,
appreciate
bear
it,
down. Have a good night.
Thanks,
bear
Eric.
down.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
So Ace, I was on mute when I had started to tell you the beginning of the Colts pick. I think the reason the Bears didn't trade back was because at 14, you knew the Colts were going to go tight end. I think they were afraid to not get Loveland. I think they just wanted
the one that they wanted.
And in fact, Warren just went 14 to the Colts.
I mean,
So,
and that's what we talked about. Go ahead,
So-
Tarbill.
Yeah, let me talk. Let the guy talk, man. Jesus. It's hard to get a word in edgewise with you savages. Mike just posted, he said, just read that Loveland was a Ben Johnson pick, told Poles that's my guy. If that's the case and that's true, I'm a lot more in on this pick, knowing that Ben Johnson was the one that said, out of Warren and Loveland, I want Loveland. That's my guy. Agreed?
I think he adds a different
Thoughts?
dynamic than what you already had.
And
I think that's the big reason of why they went this route than Warren, because Warren to me seemed very similar to Kmet.
Colt Kmet, right. That's what I was saying before Mike left, was that Warren gives you that different kind of tight end, that Sam Laporta type of tight end.
Right. And we watched what he did in Detroit last year. And like, let me be honest with you. If the Bears had any semblance of that Detroit offense next season, I will be happy. And like I said, like, I think it's not the splash that a lot of people were hoping for, with like a big edge rusher that was going to be like this dominant sack machine. Or, even a guy like Ashton Genty, who is going to be that flashy breakaway running back that, the Bears fans love a good running back, right? Matt Forte, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, the list goes on.
Jordan Howard,
David Montgomery, like
Tariq
Bears fans
Cohen. I
love a
was
good
thinking
running.
Tariq Cohen wasn't great.
Justin Fields, Bears fans love a good running back, man. And
all right, that Angelo Ace Camacho has officially been removed from the stage for blasphemizing the starting quarterback of the New York Jets. I'm just kidding.
I just think that it's a safe pick. I don't hate it. I do think that it definitely opens up the outside for these wide receivers that you have as well. You have two big tight ends in the middle. You have two wide receivers on the outside, and you're hoping that Rome can take that next step and be that number one. At this point, I know DJ is still the number one, but at some point,
it'll be a nice
want
one.
to see Rome, right? You want to see Rome step up and take that number one spot and make it his own. And I'm curious to think what you guys think about these next couple picks that the Bears have. I know, Tarbill, I don't know if you and I are still doing a show tomorrow.
It depends on how late we run tonight. And honestly, I do have that other commitment that I told you about every other Friday. So,
right. So, I mean,
well, depending on what time you're going, I might be able to jump on with you and we can throw some stuff around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be a bad idea just to discuss the early two picks that the Bears do have. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they look
41. So it's like you don't have to wait long and they're right after each other.
Right. I mean, would you be surprised if they look to trade one of those picks?
I don't know.
I don't know what the benefit in terms of capital would be.
I think at this point, with the way the draft is going, I think you're only going to see one more guy go, and that's a running back go, and that's Amari and Hampton. I think the Bears are going to get out of those two picks, two of either a running back, a tackle, or an edge. I think you're going to get two of those three. Yep. Mike had talked about it before he left, and now with the way the draft has gone, maybe I don't know, because three guys went sooner than you thought you would, but Josh Simmons, if he falls to round 2 and he's there for the Bears to take, that's a guy that could step in and compete with Braxton Jones like immediately day one.
Absolutely.
So you get that. If Trayvon Henderson is there, that's a guy that I think fits what the Bears want to do really well at running back. But because you did, with going tight end, I think if it was me, and obviously I'm not in that room, I don't know what Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles are talking about, but if it's me,
I just got off the phone with him actually. So
well, that's good.
I know what we're doing.
But I think if it was me, I'd have to go, depending who's there, obviously, I'd have to go tackle an edge in the second round, and in the third round, look at a Caleb Johnson or somebody like that. Still,
you feel pretty confident that a guy like Caleb Johnson will fall to the third round?
Yeah, I mean, I
think so as of now.
If you had seen 3 running backs go in the first round, maybe somebody sneaks him in the end of the second round. But I think because, we're halfway through the first round, there's a lot of guys that have fallen that I think people will take before running backs. I think
bring that list back up for a second, Ace.
It's not on there anymore.
Notable quarterback slides. The second one on the list was Jimmy Clausen. Why is he on the list?
And it's funny, I don't remember him being like a highly touted coming out. But anyway, I think I would have to go, especially if Josh Simmons falls. I think I would have to go tackle an edge and then look at running back in the third round and safety in the fourth round.
So
the other thing no one's really talked about is that other outside linebacker position. They did not
the Jack Sanborn replacement.
You're gonna eventually you got to have somebody that plays there. Like,
well, Sanborn was a UFA, right? And you think that with Edmonds and Edwards around that third guy, you can probably get away with going linebacker in the 5th or 6th round and
Yeah, I mean,
getting a guy that's good enough to fill the gap.
I think you could realistically, you could go tackle edge in the 2nd round, running back in the 3rd, and then 4th and 5th in any combination. You get like a Jack Sawyer and then a safety, or if there's a better safety you like, and then a different linebacker. Like you could get a lot of those things. Hey, Jalen Walker finally off the board to Atlanta.
Wow. I didn't even realize he was still on the board. That's crazy. I would have thought he'd be gone by now for sure.
Yeah,
this
I
draft
thought
is taking a turn for
8 to Carolina. And then when he didn't, I thought it was a sure thing for the Saints. I think the Saints really threw the things off for the Bears. I think Bears thought Kelvin Banks would be there or Membo. I think you just assumed that 1, if not 2, tackles would still be there.
Yeah.
You get 10
and neither one being there.
I don't really think anybody really thought 3 tackles would go in the top 9 picks.
I feel like that was probably the way that they wanted to lean was tackle with this pick. But with, like you said, when those 2 guys went, it was like, okay, who's our next best player? And you might be right with that trade back if you kind of had an idea that the Colts were.
Yeah, I think that was always
a guy.
Yeah, that was always a spot that I think whichever tight end didn't go early was going to go was the Colts.
Right.
They were always going to go tight end, especially they were really big on Warren. I just think, as this draft plays out, you kind of bob and weave with some of the punches that are thrown. And I think you weren't expecting. I mean, when's the last time we had three tackles go in the top 9 picks and only 1 quarterback?
Right.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
The next quarterback that could come off is Sanders, and where does he go? Maybe the Steelers.
I mean, you had
let's stop and talk about that for a second.
Top 12 last year.
Because right now that was Arizona that just picked, right?
Arizona's on the clock right now. They have 6
okay, so you got Arizona. They're not going to take a quarterback. You have the Bengals. They're not taking a quarterback. Seattle's not taking a quarterback. Tampa Bay,
I think he falls to Pittsburgh.
Tampa Bay, I wouldn't say.
If you're Seattle, do you take a quarterback?
I don't think so. You just paid Geno, right?
Sam Darnold.
I'm sorry.
But I mean,
I saw Geno Smith on the list.
I mean, maybe you do.
I mean, I guess not. I was thinking maybe you take a guy and let him sit behind Sam Darnold, but at this point,
But is Sam Darnold really that guy? I think to your point, Vince, I think it was a horrible decision for Seattle to pay Sam Darnold that money.
So
he cracked under pressure in Minnesota and became the
understood.
Sam Darnold that we've seen on the Carolina Panthers when he was with the Jets.
Look,
it's the same shit, man. I don't understand the move.
I thought he looked better with Minnesota than he did before, but he also had Justin Jefferson. He also had Justin Jefferson, Mario Addison, or Jordan Addison. Yeah, sorry, Jordan Addison. And TJ Hawkinson that he was throwing to, and he had a decent offensive line too. So, you had all that. So now you put him on a team in Seattle that really only has JSN, Jackson Smith, and the Jigba. He's really the only receiver they have out there, the only weapon. There's really no over the top tight end. You didn't re-sign.
Right, Metcalf's gone, Lockett's gone.
Metcalf. So you do all this and you're like, okay, well, you're going to trade away Geno Smith and DK, and you're going to reboot and start over. And then they paid Sam Darnold all this money. It's like, okay, well, what are we really doing? Right.
So what path are we trying to shape?
If it was me, I would have just, and obviously you don't know that the draft would have went this way, but I would have just traded Geno and then not signed Sam Darnold and drafted Jackson Dart or somebody like that. But, you obviously don't know the draft's going to go that way when you make that decision to sign Sam Darnold. The Arizona pick is in. They're all pointing and celebrating in the war room. We'll see. They look like they're all confused.
I'm in control, bro. I just brought it up. It's all good.
Yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, so I think, when you look at the Bears, I think they just, like I said, they didn't want to lose out on Loveland over Warren. I think they decided that he was definitely the guy they wanted. And like we talked about, if it is, then you go get him. You don't trade back.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter that some boards had Warren ahead of him or
if you
vice
trade
versa.
15 and then Loveland goes 14 to the Colts, then you're like, well, shit. I really wanted that guy. It's like, well.
Sorry, they just did that close up on Mel Kiper, and all I could think of is that the Colts GM video from back in the day.
No, you're good.
Where he's ostracizing Mel Kiper on the air.
But there's a lot of players out there still. I mean, we're at what is it, 17?
16.
16. So we're at 16. You still got, they're showing them right now. You got Matthew Golden. You've got Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. He's still there. Everyone thought he would go a lot sooner. There's guys there. We've seen a couple edges, but not many.
So what if Arizona just shocks us right here and takes Shedeur Sanders and says, kick rocks, Kyler Murray?
I mean, if you're Arizona, like you're building, are you going to be competitive before Kyler Murray's like past his prime?
Needs to get paid. Yeah,
or needs to get paid again?
Yeah, probably not, but I know they're not going quarterback here.
No, they're not, but would it be funny?
Would it be the craziest thing in the world? No.
Quarterback and trade Kyler Murray to the Steelers? Like, let's see. Big Raj.
Ace, give me the audio.
In the 2025 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Walter Nolan.
There you go. You knew he was going to go eventually. I thought San Francisco was going to take him, but they went edge instead.
Right. Is that cornerback still out there?
To Texas A&M,
what?
Then an outstanding
is that cornerback still out there?
Corner?
Corner,
Will Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about him.
He's still out there?
Yep, Will Johnson's still out there. Both quarterbacks, Sanders and Dart, are both out there.
So for Walter Nolan, the talent, I like
some of the edges are still out there. Let's see what ESPN has the best available. It's a big dude.
That is a big dude. So I know we touched on it briefly, guys, and we were talking about the option to trade back into the late first round for the Bears to go grab a guy like Simmons specifically, or whoever they like if they come back in late in the first. Do any of us think that's going to happen at this point? The way this is shaking out, I don't see him making a move back into the first and getting another pick tonight.
I don't either. But then again, I mean, there's so much value there that, guys that have fallen, that you might get a team like the Bears who have that extra second round pick that are like, you know what, I'll give up a second this year and something next year to move up back in the first round because there's somebody there that we just didn't feel would be there at this time.
Yeah, I think it comes down to who's there and their needs, right? I wouldn't do it for a cornerback. I wouldn't do it for a running back.
I would only do it for an edge or an offensive tackle.
Right, that would be it. So if you see, a couple edge rushers go off the board here, maybe, but then you have to weigh, what's it going to cost you to move up where you want to move up? You know what I mean? And
70 cents on the dollar, as Eric said when he was on the air. That's what it's
I just feel like their opportunity to trade back would have probably been to around the 12 or 13 spot if they were able to.
Well, especially sorry, go ahead.
No, because they didn't, I just don't think they're going to look to move around too much.
Fair enough.
I think right now there's no point in moving up until you're down to like, oh my God, I got to get this one guy. Like right now, you look at edge, just looking at best available, you've got James Pierce from Tennessee, who everybody had high on their boards. Mike Green, who talked about out of Marshall. Shamar Stewart, who I absolutely love. I think that dude is a stud. Other than the Texas A&M thing, like not just that, but like everything else, I think he's Myles Garrett. Like I think he's that dude. But you've got those three, wow. and you still have the kid out of Boston College. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but that we talked about.
Give it a try, Vince. I want to hear it.
Donovan, I think it's Azaroku is, I believe, how you pronounce it, but I'm not.
I think it 100%. Is too.
But you've got those four guys. Like, there's a good chance one of those guys falls to you at 39. I mean, we're on pick 17. So if you see three of them go, maybe then you move up. You're like, okay, I don't want to lose out on one of those four.
Right.
Right.
tackle, you've really got the two. You've got Josh Simmons, who we talked about, and then the other one we talked about, Connolly out of Oregon, Josh Connolly. So those are like the two guys. So like if you see one of them go, then maybe you're like, oh, okay, crap, I gotta move up and get one of them. But there's receivers still there.
What about the guy from the tackle from Minnesota? Ariane, Ursi. Did you just say him?
No, I did not say him.
No, I was just trying to look at the remaining tackles that are left. I heard, I listened to and read stuff too, and there were some people that were pretty high on him, as a late first round pick, early second round pick. So that's a potential for, and he's a complete left tackle. So
yeah,
he would definitely be somebody.
There was a lot of high. He's definitely another guy that gained momentum during combine draft. Draft process season, as they like to call it. He moved up the ranks. That he wasn't necessarily talked about right out of the gate, but he definitely has been more of late. So that's what I mean. Like you've got a few guys there. Like the odds are one of those guys falls for each spot. So it's like then you have to really think about, well, what's it going to cost me to move up?
So I just want to point out that our buddy Joey said in our group chat that this tight end duo for the Bears will be the next Gronk and Hernandez.
I hope not.
I surely hope
I don't
not.
want no murders anywhere.
Laughing, but anyways, I love the pick, knowing that Ben Johnson runs the two tight end sets. I am seeing a lot of flack I was looking at the post the Bears made welcoming Loveland to Chicago, and a lot of people are like, Tyler Warren was still there. What are you doing? And I think you explained it really well, Vince.
That means somebody's getting moved if Adam Schefter's on.
Me.
The Bears have traded back into the draft.
Oh, no, he's just saying the Bengals are looking for an edge.
Oh, okay.
I think Shefty.
What is going on? He's wearing a hoodie with a suit and tie. What is that?
I mean,
it's probably freezing, dude. It's cold as shit up here.
Dude, it is fucking 74 degrees here, and I live 2 hours away from you.
I was say it's like
48 degrees.
Oh no, it's like 60 here.
Yeah, it is.
Look at Roger's white shoes.
It is 67 degrees right now where I live. Vince gets the lake effect, so. All right, let's hear what's going on with the Bengals.
Damn it.
Texas A&M.
Oh, that was my bad, y'all. I muted the audio.
All right, so he was a top 10.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think that he's going to be a stud.
So what does that mean for Hendrickson? Does that mean that?
Well, you got to play two of them.
I guess that's true.
Cincinnati.
Burrow might be happy because, hey, finally.
I mean, Cincinnati, every draft pick they make this weekend better be defense. Because
when
nobody.
When they're getting roasted.
Right.
Joe Burrow's like, man, we put up 65 points. It's a shame we lost by 20.
Right. No shit. Some of those games last season, it's like, oh, did Joe Burrow get bad? It's like, no, he put up 42. They still lost by 8.
They don't have no money left. They paid it all to Burrow, Chase, and Higgins.
Right.
Yeah,
Tyler Boyd is a guy that I would have loved
they're showing
to see the Bears.
His highlights right now. I think this kid is a stud.
I think it's a great move by him, and absolutely well needed. As you said,
they ended the highlights.
I didn't take it off, bro.
At least I know I can go fast.
Angelo's worried about us getting DCMA'd, so.
I mean, last year it happened. I'm not. What I mean, it'd be different if it didn't happen.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, we're at pick 18.
Right. We're at pick 18. And last year it happened because of what we were streaming through, not.
And it's Ace's fault because he left it on for like 5 picks in a row.
That's true. I did.
No, that was all me last year.
Was it?
Yeah, it was all Tarbill last year. I just took the bullet for him like a good quarterback would.
Well, you know, that's why you guys.
Hey, it's all good. And just like a valuable running back, like Ashton Jeanty's going to be for.
Are you eating carrots now?
No,
for the Oakland Raiders. I'm sorry, for the Las Vegas Raiders. They will always be the
cheese puffs.
They're Cheetos Puffs, which are the most disgusting brand of Cheeto you can buy. But
what brand is it?
It's Cheetos.
Oh, it's Cheetos
puff
brand.
Kind. I hate the puff kind.
I like
kettle cooked puffs are elite, bro. That's all.
Oh, you just don't like the puffs.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Cheetos brand you don't like.
No, I like the regular crunchy Cheetos. But...
Nah, I like the puffs. I like the Utz brand puffs.
Utz chips in general are fire, but now we're getting off topic.
Have you had the hot honey?
I haven't had them yet.
Utz has a Mike's hot honey. It's freaking awesome.
I keep a bottle of Mike's hot honey in the cabinet at all times. I put that shit on everything, bro.
Yeah, that stuff is so good.
I put it on everything.
So we're at 18. Seattle, his pick is in. They're all celebrating like they just got a steal. It's always
fun. You know what I think is really,
Sanders.
You know what I think is wild? How long this round takes, and I always forget it. I'm so hyped in the beginning.
Well, that's why.
And then the Bears pick of the top 10, and I'm like, God, there's so much draft left.
Well, that's why when Mike was like, "Why can't I steal 7:30?" I'm hoping to make it to the Bears. I was like, "You're gonna make it like 3 picks."
Yeah, man, we're already 2 hours in.
We're 2 hours in.
Yeah,
it's 9:05. We've been doing this for like 5 years now. I don't know why I'm surprised, but
yeah, I don't know.
Every year people get surprised. Like, oh my
every
God.
year I say the same thing.
All right, we are back in Green Bay. The Seattle Seahawks.
I would love to see the Bears back in the first round to excite
Seattle after they send away Geno Smith and they sign up Sam Darnold. So it's sort of a new era there with their.
And then they draft
a new era in Seattle.
I think they're going to go receiver.
We talked about a lot about the interior of the offensive line.
Yes, we got him.
We
got him. Let's go.
I think they're going to go receiver. You know what? Everyone's always so excited in the draft room. Just once I want to see somebody in the draft room like, I guess we'll get this guy.
Every position on the offensive line.
You know what? If I ever become a
that's why they don't show the draft room in the 7th round, bro.
That's because they're not even in it.
That's because everyone's home and sleeping.
They're on the golf course texting in their picks.
Especially if they feel really good about their.
They're probably not even there tomorrow.
Charles Cross.
They're going to fly out. They're going to do their press conference tomorrow.
I agree with Mel attacking the interior
of the line. I think they go receiver.
I mean, it's a 20-minute flight from.
I think they go cornerback
on the jet.
Corner.
Oh, corner.
Yeah,
Will
DB.
Johnson. So is a kid from Kentucky.
With the 18th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Gray Zabel, guard, North Dakota State.
Bro, a lot of offensive linemen going in this draft. Holy shit, man.
North Dakota State.
We talk about this dude a lot. He played like every position on the line.
With his brother, and as a result,
okay,
he won his second FCS championship last year. Got invited to
He's not there. Why is he not there?
It's
because he went to like North Dakota State or something.
Because it's in Green Bay. That's why nobody's there. Why the piss would you want to go to Green Bay for a draft?
Because the tickets for the first round were free when in Detroit they were $400 last
year. You see the Ashton Gentry about Green Bay, and he's like, "There's not much to do here."
Yeah,
right. He would have fit in right.
I don't hear anybody say I want to go to Green Bay on vacation. Shout out Joking Noah.
I know. I don't know how some people could live in Wisconsin, man. I mean, good God.
It ain't easy, boys. It ain't easy.
I would love when they show offensive linemen film and all they're showing is deep bombs.
You know Otis, Vince from WWE? He's from Wisconsin.
Is he?
He looks like he'd be right.
Who? I don't even know who that is.
Otis? You don't know who Otis is? The big dude with the beard.
He got destroyed by Rooster.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen him. I know
that
who
guy
he is.
looks like, if you're like, man, the prototypical guy from Wisconsin.
He's a corn-fed, beer-drinking, probably one DUI type of boy.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're born with a DUI up here. I don't know.
They-
I'm almost positive you are.
They say Wisconsin sobers when you only drink beers. Like,
Tampa's got to go what, corner?
probably. All right. Let's remove the leg shaving commercial. We might get taken down for that.
She's actually shaving her armpits.
Jeez.
What? I'm just on the TV.
So, anyways, looking forward here, guys. Simmons is still on the board. Just flashed as one of the best available for Kuiper. We're getting down there. Where
Tampa's needs are. Let me see draft cash. They got corner listed as their number one need.
So I want to go back real quick, Vince. You were talking earlier in the show about how you think maybe in like the 4th round it makes sense for the Bears to potentially grab a safety. And I know we started talking earlier, kind of to tie together the whole Ryan Poles draft picks conversation, and then
I like to call them ass picks, but that's just me.
So I think Ryan Poles has done a very good job drafting the secondary of this team. So Kyler Gordon,
yeah, for
Jaquan
real.
Brisker.
If there was anybody I wanted drafted in my secondary, it's this brother right here.
Tyreek Stevenson.
Any other position, I'm a little questionable at it, to be honest.
Okay. So
there's a lot
of you guys talked about Ryan Poles draft picks and the moves he's made earlier. I didn't really get to say much. So I do want to say on that front that I think you look at the body of work that Ryan Poles has done as a whole. You got Edmonds and Edwards for the price of one linebacker when they're arguably just as good. You've drafted some elite players. I think Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker are both elite when healthy.
Those are what, three-year guys right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Darnell Wright was a great pick.
Kyler Gordon was his first ever pick.
Yes, he was. I think Darnell Wright was obviously the best tackle in the draft when he was selected. Sure, he's missed on Velus Jones. Sure, he traded for Chase Claypool, who was a basket case, but nobody knew he was going to go all Antonio Brown and be a fucking prima donna.
He also drafted a punter in the 4th round and left Bucky Irving one pick later.
He drafted.
He actually drafted 2 punters in 3 years.
He drafted.
I mean, Bucky
he drafted
Irving,
the best punter.
Tampa didn't even think Bucky Irving
brother
was going to be
in the
who he
4th
was.
round.
I
don't think he's.
I think your hate is way too great for Ryan Poles.
I think he's made some really good moves, drafting and free agency.
Yeah,
he's made some really bad moves.
That's fair. He has made some really bad moves. I don't disagree.
Ryan Poles, we were sold on a guy who was going to come in and fix the offensive line because that was his specialty, was offensive line. He has now fixed the offensive line, but not by drafting them. So he's not built an offensive line of 25-year-olds who are studs and are growing together. He's built a very win now offensive line. So you had to do that because, and the money you had to spend and all that is because you couldn't do it in the draft or just chose not to, I
don't think he knows how.
So whether it's he can't, they don't know how to scout offensive linemen, whatever it was, when you look at the mistakes and you look at a Chase Claypool, you gave away a 2nd round pick that could have been a very good offensive lineman piece for your offensive line. You look at Torrey Taylor.
But you did need help. You did need help at wide receiver when you made the move.
You did, but again, it was the wrong move. And it's easy for us to say, oh, we were wrong. This guy's not very good. we're not paid to make those decisions.
Don't you think that they already had their mind set that they were moving on from Justin before they made that pick, before they made that trade? Because I do.
I don't know.
You gave him half a season with Chase Claypool, and then that was all you needed to see.
I honestly think they were only willing to move off of Justin Fields because they knew they had Caleb Williams. I think
if the Bears didn't have the number 1 pick, I don't think they would have moved on from Fields. What do we got?
Surprise pick. Good pick. I love him. I think he's a great player, but
Ohio State. That's a little bit of a surprise. A terrific player. We thought they might go
hey,
defense.
just said the same thing that Greeny said.
Catchers Ohio State has sent to the NFL even in the last handful of years.
That's a nice
almost
room.
like we know what we're talking about sometimes.
That's a nice room.
I mean, he's a great football player. He's really good. He's going to be great for them. They're just so deep at receiver already that I was surprised to see them go there.
That is definitely an interesting pick there. I will agree with that. But
you'd see
so who's left here? Who's left
like
now?
that. But to wrap up the Ryan Poles thing, I think.
Oh no, not wrap it up. I'm not done.
Oh,
okay.
By all means, go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hold
Bro,
on.
go ahead.
Let me get my bag out here.
I think he's been
dive
given
into the Barney bag of my hatred.
I think he's been given a reprieve here with Ben Johnson. I think he's going to get an extension to pair him up with Ben Johnson, and he's whether he deserved it or not. That's what's going to happen, and we'll never know. People have their own opinions. We'll never know if he picked Matt Eberflus or he was given Matt Eberflus. But for right now,
I think he was given Matt Eberflus.
Ben Johnson.
If the Bears don't get the first overall pick last year, is he the GM this year?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Again,
I don't think so. Why?
Again, I will die on this hill.
I hear you dying.
He's the best fucking GM the Bears have ever
had. He hasn't drafted a single Pro Bowler.
Here's the thing.
You don't think
be the
Kyler
voice of
Gordon
reason.
or
is he a Pro Bowler?
Kyler Gordon's a Pro Bowler. He should be.
Are they? Well, they're
Let
not though.
me
But they're
be
not.
the voice
They
of
should
reason.
be, but they're not. He hasn't drafted shit for Pro Bowlers or he drafted a world-class punter twice.
Whatever side of the fence you're on with Ryan Poles,
twice.
At the end of the day, McCaskies do not want to run football. Kevin Warren was not brought in to run football. He was brought in to get a stadium. That's why at the end of the day, the head coach was Ryan Poles' decision. The draft is Ryan Poles' decision. Kevin Warren may be the president, but he's the president of everything but football operations. Ryan Poles is the top guy when it comes to football. And now him and Ben Johnson, for better or for worse, are a duo that are going to be working together. And there was no way they were going to move on from him.
And I think he's lucky that Ben Johnson came here because
and that's what
that is going to give him job security.
He got a reprieve.
Yep.
That Ben Johnson wanted to come here, but part of why he wanted to come here was the team that Ryan Poles has put together. He's made a lot of mistakes, but there are very strong assets that make this team glaring to somebody that wants to come and lead a team.
Yeah, you have a franchise quarterback that everybody was consensus number one.
Correct.
Okay. You talked about that earlier.
So you've
Ryan
got
Poles not taking Caleb Williams number one would have been insanity.
But it's funny
Regardless of
because
what
there are
happens
plenty of
with-
people who say that he took the wrong quarterback.
Right. Regardless.
But you've got a
That's-
franchise quarterback.
Right.
You've got a franchise receiver.
Two.
You now have a very good offensive line. You have a defensive line that will be better than it was last year.
If they stay healthy.
Correct. If they stay healthy, you
Both
have
sides.
You can say that of every position, though.
But you also have 30-plus-year-old offensive and defensive linemen that you signed because you couldn't draft offensive or defensive linemen.
It's not that you couldn't draft. Stop saying that you couldn't draft
Amagaji was a
offensive
fucking
or defensive
turnstile.
line.
Look, I think.
Come on.
I
think people give this guy way too much credit.
I think for right now, everybody, including myself, at least definitely myself, I'm going to give Ben Johnson the benefit of the doubt. He tells you that Amagaji, what you saw last year out of Amagaji, is not what they're expecting to get out of him this year. That he was a guy they had targeted in Detroit for a lot of a lot of attributes that he has, the strengths that they thought would make a good left tackle in the NFL. So for right now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And yes, did he have to go make those moves because he didn't address it in the draft? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, he still went out and made those moves. Does he get Joe Thuney for as cheap as he does unless he knows the people in Kansas City? Maybe not. Maybe that was at a barbecue conversation that somebody from Kansas City was like, yeah, we got to find money here. I think we're going to stick with the young kid at right guard and might have to lose Joe Thuney. And he was like, hey, I need him over in Chicago.
We could take him.
Cool. Let's make a deal. Who knows? But at the end of the day, he's missed a lot in the draft. But he's like, they now have the best roster this team has had in a really long time.
Yeah, I'll say that the roster is improved.
And when's the last time that they had a franchise quarterback? So whether he fell into it or he didn't, at the end of the day, he still has Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, a lot of these guys on his resume, as well as Montez Sweat. A lot of these guys who have looked very good for the Bears are on his resume. So, yes, he has a lot of misses, but he has a lot of connects too. So, at the end of the day, I feel like he's been average. He's made some really good moves, but he's made some really bad moves too. But now it's from where do we go from here? If he hit the thing that will determine Ryan Poles' tenure in Chicago is if he hit a grand slam with Ben Johnson. If he hit a grand slam with Ben Johnson and this coaching staff they put together gets everything that they can out of this roster, he's going to look a whole lot better because the players are going to play better. If Ben Johnson is just a glorified Matt Nagy, then he'll be out of here in 2 years, Poles and Johnson. So
I do want to say one other thing about this situation. I fully acknowledge and recognize that there have been some misses, but I just don't understand. Like, Ace, do you recognize all the good that he's done also?
Yes. I can say yes, he drafted 2 good players in the secondary. I can also say he got DJ Moore. I can also say he drafted Caleb, got Rome. I can also say he left a Pro Bowl edge rusher because of an attitude. I can also say that he drafted Jalen Carter.
It wasn't an attitude. It was a fucking hit and run.
It was actually racing.
It was racing. He didn't hit anybody. He was just at the race site that it happened at. So, okay, cool. He's not good at evaluating, I think, really anything other than secondary. That's just me personally. I think if you look at the players that, wide receiver, DJ Moore was already established wide receiver. So DJ Moore was already an established wide receiver, and Rome was a top 3 wide receiver that everybody had in the top 3 prospects of wide receivers. Well, I'll turn this on. They're going to take a running back.
Who is that?
With
Denver.
The 20th pick in the
They got to take
2025
Omari and
NFL
Hampton.
draft,
Bro.
The Denver Broncos select Jahdae Barron, DB, Texas.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Not where I thought they'd go with Patrick Surtain Jr. there.
So who is that kid?
That's Bo Nix. I'm just kidding.
I'm really surprised. I really thought Omar and Hampton was going there.
Wee Man is a Broncos fan. I like him significantly less now.
Who?
They just showed Wee Man, the comedian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't looking.
I honestly don't know if it was Wee Man. It was just a short guy, and I probably.
Oh, that's disrespectful. Ryan Poles, player acquisition. Let's just for fun.
Okay,
because I can't even remember all the bad that this brother's done.
Okay, so are we all in agreement the Steelers are taking a quarterback here?
Yeah.
The Steelers are taking Shedeur Sanders right now.
What do you think, Ace?
Is what
I mean, I think they're going to – you have to go quarterback.
I think
Who's your quarterback right now?
I think they go Omari and Hampton.
Who? I don't know, man. I think they have to go.
And they draft Jalen
no
in
way,
the second
dude.
round.
We'll see. That would be very bold, Vince. I
mean, you're at
I
pick
could see it,
21.
but
You're at pick 21. You don't think a couple quarterbacks will drop to the second round?
If they don't take them, if they don't take
in that
Sanders
aspect,
here,
for sure.
At this point, you're getting to all the good teams. The good teams
right?
don't need quarterbacks.
And that's what I'm saying. I guess you're right. You're not wrong. The Chargers are going to take one. Packers are going to take one. Vikings are going to take one.
Run through the rest of the order. Who needs a quarterback?
Texans. The Rams might, just because Stafford's
43 years old.
Right. But then you got the Ravens, the Lions, the Commanders, the Bills, and the Chiefs and the Eagles. So you might. Yeah.
I can see the Rams taking Jackson Dart.
Okay.
If Sanders doesn't go here, I don't think he gets picked in the first round. And Deion's going to be pissed. He's going to be like, they don't like my boy.
Could you imagine, Deion, if his kid that he's would be top 5?
They don't like my boy because he's a Sanders and the attitude.
Yep.
That's
I'm
definitely
wearing flashy gold sunglasses and coach a team to fucking.
God forbid he's just not good. I mean, he's not bad, but
yeah, I think the Steelers take Shedeur Sanders right here.
I do too, simply just because they got no other choice.
All right, the pick's in. Ace, can we get some audio, please?
Sure.
Waiting to see if this is the spot. Shedeur Sanders will finally hear his name called.
Steelers have no second-round pick. That went to
the Steelers have no second-round pick.
I just killed my.
Well, they are taking a quarterback here, right? They have to. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers ain't coming to save the day. He's too busy with the ayahuasca.
What is Aaron Rodgers doing?
He said he hasn't ruled out retiring.
He's just what he's waiting for is for hopefully the Vikings.
Yeah, he really wants to go play for the Vikings.
McCarthy isn't in, and
I like don't.
Oh, so he can complete the Favre triangle. Is that what he's doing?
Which is so funny because he hated Brett Favre so much.
And there's Shedeur sitting there, and you have no second-round pick. Where's the young quarterback coming in? But I'm taking Shedeur Sanders. I prefer him in New Orleans. I don't know what the Saints were thinking there. That's their decision. I disagree with it.
Me too, Mel. I don't know what the Saints were thinking either.
Yeah, they screwed everything up.
What?
Well, they went and took a tackle. That's great. But you don't have a quarterback for the tackle to protect.
Making his way to the stage. Will this be
true.
The moment that we hear the second quarterback's name, or will the drop continue? Here comes Roger Goodell.
I can see him taking Will Johnson too.
Is this the latest? Only one quarterback is gone?
Gotta be.
2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon.
What?
You can hear the roar in this crowd.
What?
Bro, they just never want to address nothing, the Steelers. They're like, offense, we don't care. Just build the defense. They don't want nothing.
They didn't re-sign Najee Harris.
What are you doing, bro?
They run a 3-4 that only uses one defensive tackle, and they got Cam Hayward.
I mean, I think Harmon's a great pick. At 21, I think he's a good pick, but
I thought he was going the next week to the Chargers.
I know Michigan State kept waiting for it to really hit home.
You know who the Chargers are going to take? They're going to take Will Johnson.
He could be. And this year, he
corner out of Michigan.
Right. Yeah, you're probably right.
Corner out of Michigan that everybody thought was going to go top 10. Jim Harbaugh's going to go, I'll take him.
You watch him, guys.
Right.
He can get into the backfield. Plays a little high, but he is a guy who can learn from Cam Hayward.
So what is Pittsburgh doing at quarterback?
He can learn from Cam Hayward. You took a dude in the first round. You don't have a second round pick. You took a dude in the first round that's not going to start for you.
So who's the starting quarterback in
No doubt. You talk
Pittsburgh?
about Cam Hayward getting a little
Quarterback?
This is something
Yeah,
that
Justin
Pittsburgh
Fields is
doesn't have, which
gone.
interior
Russell
Mason
Wilson's
Rudolph.
You
gone.
mentioned he led all defensive tackles as far as
The third string guy from the
from
Vikings?
the inside. And when you
No,
look at
he was
Keanu
with the
Benton, we talk
Titans
about
last year.
Wisconsin.
He was
He's
drafted by
played well, but
Pittsburgh.
getting to the
He's the
passer,
dude
having
that Miles
his
Garrett
forte,
hit with his helmet.
This is an opportunity
Oh,
to
yeah,
fortify the
okay.
defense in front.
He's back in
Again,
Pittsburgh now.
pass on the quarterback,
Okay.
fortify the defense.
Either
Where's
way,
Mike?
I said
I
that's a
wanna know
problem.
Mike-
You can't
Mike
trot
right now.
Mason Rudolph out there at the
You
start.
know
of
this
the
one's
season.
the exact way Mike wanted it to, where they had Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart.
We don't know right now.
And they said, hold my beer, we're going to take a defensive tackle that isn't going to start.
By the way, the Steelers' last first-round defensive
That's-
lineman was Cam Hayward.
That's
whom they
wild.
selected 31st in 2011. So there's
I
the
just don't
celebration of the
understand.
Steeler draft.
Are
The
they
question
are
is,
they gonna
when will
trade
the next
back in
quarterback come
late?
off the board?
Okay.
Come on back and find out. The Chargers are on the clock. We're back
So
in
you
Green
got
Bay in
no
just a
quarterback.
moment.
Are they
You
gonna
got-
trade back in late like you
And give up what? You don't even have a second round pick.
You're giving up all your capital for next year, I guess.
I don't know. You didn't take a quarterback. You've got Jalen Warren as your only running back.
That is quite shocking.
Wait, what? Maybe they're going to trade Pickens to Green Bay for a first round pick. And be like, hold on, we need a redo.
See you on game day.
I don't understand that, man.
Yeah, I don't. That's definitely a surprise to me.
What I didn't understand from the Bears last year was why they didn't call that man that was just on the last commercial and say, 40 million 2 years, come be the anchor of our offense.
Yeah,
I don't think you could have got Travis Kelce out of retirement. Or I'm sorry, Jason Kelce out of retirement.
I don't think so either, but I don't know. You see, guys always say things until there's a check in front of them.
Right. Jason Peters was on a shrimp boat in Louisiana.
Exactly. I was gonna say Jason Peters. There was finally enough money to bring him off a shrimp boat.
He played last year, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
For Dallas, right?
Yeah.
At he's got to be 40.
Oh yeah, I think he was 42. I think they said. Don't forget, Jason Peters was beyond past his prime. He was over the hill when he played for the Bears. And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say he was arguably over the hill 2 years before he came to the Bears.
People just keep saying, "Oh, it's fine. We'll just keep throwing him money."
Right. Guy got up to 400 pounds in the offseason on a shrimp boat and was like, "Yeah, I'll come cut 60 pounds and play tackle."
I tell you what, I think this pick right here has got to be Will Johnson. To think that the Chargers could get Will Johnson at, what is this, 21? No, 22.
Verizon Small Business
at 22, you could get Will Johnson.
Our experts closer than you think.
That's absolutely
Serving
wild.
Deals, advice, and more.
Hey, hi.
There's a lot of really good players.
Let's take a look.
That's what I was saying, with those offensive linemen and defense and edges. I think you're going to see at least two of them drop to the Bears at 39 and 41.
Yeah, I don't think
Omari Hampton drops to the Bears at 39.
Oh my God. That would be perfect scenario. You have to take Hampton if he's there at 39.
I think that's one of those that if he's there at the end of the first round, you see somebody move up to the first pick of the second round to take him.
And if it's us, I wouldn't hate it.
I mean, look at it. You've got Shadur Sanders, Will Johnson, and Jackson Dart. You got Will Johnson, Omari Hampton, Josh Simmons, and that Matthew Golden is still there.
Matthew Golden could potentially fall to the second. I don't know that he will, but
look, me and Mel are in sync tonight. I just said the same thing. I can't believe Denver didn't take Omari and Hampton.
So is there any excuse me, is there any way, shape, or form that the Bears go after another receiver in this draft?
I mean, it just all depends. If Matthew Golden's there, I mean, he would be the guy to see the brigade. He's that pure burner that they don't have.
96% chance he'd be drafted by the 21st pick.
The dude had his own draft room built.
And there was only 16 hats in there. He's scrambling to try to go get the hats of the teams that are able to take him now.
I don't know, man.
Wait, so he's not there? Shador's not there? He's
wherever.
He's at the house with his draft room that you sent me earlier that they just showed.
Yeah.
That's wild. There were some people saying he could go in the top 5.
I thought at the very worst, I thought he would go 9. I really thought he would go 9 to the Saints. That's what Mel's ranting about right now.
Right.
Dan Marino passed over for Cal Davis and Ken O'Brien, right? Joe Montana went in the third
Dan
round.
Marino, Mel, you're 75 years old. Nobody cares about Dan Marino anymore.
Take him number 1 overall. Matt Ryan, Jake
Jake Long went ahead of Matt Ryan. They took him.
How much coffee you think Mel Kiper's drank today?
You think it's coffee that gets him like this?
Well, I don't, but I wasn't going to say.
How'd that work? Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, Kirk Cousins, 4th round pick. They're all traditional drop back pocket passers. I didn't mention the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, 6th round pick. So just think about that.
Easy, Mel.
All right. Everyone knows that Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. He is the anomaly, not the rule, bro.
I was just saying, for the one Tom Brady, there's about 1,000 or 100 6th-round quarterbacks that didn't work out.
We talked about a minute ago about people getting wild with the off-platform throws and all these different.
I can tell you right now, I cannot stand to listen to this dude talk.
Not valuing that in the first round now.
But you know what, Bug? He does do something special.
You can't stand listening to who talk?
Booger McFarland.
Guys who we respect the most.
Yeah, I'm not a big Booger fan either.
That the first thing that they talk about when they're talking about what does it take to play quarterback at a high level in the NFL, they don't say wild throws. They don't say great traits. They say exactly what you said in your own highlight. Decision making, yes. Accuracy. That's what they say. Fedora has made great decisions in the pocket, outside the pocket, when he's getting his head knocked
I did
off,
hear Fedora's attitude.
They said it rubbed a lot of teams the wrong way.
For a lot of teams, yeah.
Very entitled and very blameful of everybody else.
He just is.
Right.
What this comes down to, look,
and if he goes into a pro locker room with that attitude, those guys are going to eat him up.
Every team
Can you imagine if the Raiders can get him in the second round?
What price do they want to pay? Right? So they figure for him.
That would be wild.
We're judging the landscape right here. We don't need to pay.
Does Geno only have a year left? I mean, how old's Geno Smith?
We may not even need to
32?
About 55.
Oh, he's not. When was he drafted? 2013, 12 years ago.
He's old.
They're taking a gamble. The teams who need a quarterback, and if you pass on him, and he winds up
Talk about a team that needs a receiver is the Raiders.
How old is Geno Smith?
Tom Brady type of career. He winds up, which he's.
You didn't say, "Hey Siri."
You're going to sit back and teams.
I held the button. He's 34.
There's going to be a lot.
That's what I said. 55.
Why did people pass on him?
34. If 34 is the new 55, I'm in trouble.
All the other nonsense that you hear.
Hey.
How he plays the game.
I
agree with you.
Vince, I know you just celebrated your 50th, bro.
I'm about to celebrate my 40th.
I know you are. That's why I said.
That's why the peanut gallery over there said, "So is Vince." When you said you're old, if that's the new 55.
I said that facetiously, obviously.
The Chargers are all excited in their war room.
The Chargers are on the clock here. Then we will have the
If Melissa can't hear me, you tell her that I appreciate that.
You see Jim
She can hear you.
Here's Roger Goodell.
Is there any way this isn't Will Johnson?
I don't think so.
22nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.
Oh, it's Omarion
Los
Hampton.
Angeles Chargers select Omarion Hampton, running back.
Oh, you're 4 seconds ahead of the stream,
Sorry,
bro.
it just flashed on the behind him. I was watching it, listening to this though, and I thought I was listening to mine. And I was like, "Oh my god!" It flashed it before he said it, and then I realized my TV's on mute. And
you're all good.
Yeah, just turned 22 on March 16th. I thought.
Wow. So here's another thing I don't understand. You just went out and signed Najee Harris.
Right. Everyone wants their Sonic and Knuckles now, I guess.
But they're the same guy, him and Najee Harris.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That's who they're going to comp him to here in a second.
Right.
I know that contact.
How low is it?
Go run through contact.
Super
He will
low?
do that. Excels at picking up yards and breaking
Why
tackles after that contact with the leg drive, the determination, and that breakaway speed.
Melissa's lowering John's crib because he could just basically hop over the side.
2 touchdown catches.
Oh, wow.
He always had a hard time standing, but he was in the hospital and they got the metal like bars on the crib that they're in. So he just learned how to hold onto it and just pull himself up. Like, great, you get home and flip over the side.
Yeah, you don't need that.
So what do the Packers do here? They select.
They're going to take Will Johnson.
You put him in this offense where they want to run the football.
What if the Packers take Shedeur Sanders?
They're talking about. I think they take Will Johnson. They've been talking about trading
League has now taken to bringing the draft.
What if they trade with the Steelers?
That moment that we look forward to every
What
year.
if the Steelers give them Pickens or Pickett, whatever his name is,
Pickens,
and next year's first round move back up here?
That's too much.
Can you imagine the Packers host the draft? They don't have a fucking pick in the first round.
These fans
People would riot.
Packer fans would be like, "What?"
So excited to host this event. We have all felt it all week long. There's been no question about it. And so with all the energy here, the Green Bay Packers.
The Chargers, they can't stop the run, but they go and get a running back.
The NFC North, a lot of interesting needs. Will this be the year that Jordan Love takes that step forward?
Is Warren still on the board?
Who?
Tyler Warren?
No, remember he went to the Colts at 14.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They already have two tight ends.
So I look at that quarterback spot. Will Johnson's a guy.
Well, if Oakland's taught us anything,
oh, they're going to
you can never have too many tight ends.
And not banged up. Will Johnson's a top 10 pick. So when is Will Johnson going to come off the board?
That's the dude I keep talking about. The top 10 pick.
We don't know what his 40 speed is. There's questions about his recovery ability, Lou. But as a corner who can anticipate and break on the ball, 9 career interceptions, 3 career pick sixes. I'm going to be interested to see.
Man, Packer fans are ugly as shit. Golly.
The one random Vikings fan at the end of all of those Packers fans.
Right now where you
Oh, man.
The teams that need a corner, a guy like this, a guy who, again, Wink Martindale, who coached them up there at Michigan, said, look, this guy has hands, has ball skills like Champ Bailey.
So,
the guy can snatch the ball and take the ball out of the air like
while
that.
we're waiting for the next pick from Green Bay, which
the medical. Simple
FGB, I'm seeing everything I look at with Loveland is a lot of hate from a lot of uneducated.
Colin Cowherd tweeted out, "Go buy Bears season tickets."
Here's the thing: tight end is not a fancy, sexy position.
It's not a flashy position,
right? So the average fan is like, "Wow, we got a stupid tight end." Blah 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 blah, and it's like,
so
go ahead.
This one person says,
"Why is your picture over Tarbill?"
Because I'm just so handsome, it has to be there.
So I don't know, because I literally switched studio spots with him and everything.
Was our number 2 player in the entire draft class, including all quarterbacks after Hunter. He's just a notch below Brock Bowers as a prospect, and
Loveland.
He's finished as the 2nd highest graded tight end I've ever graded. Great value at number 10. Awesome fit for the Bears. This is the director of football ops, player personnel for the XFL. Oh, come on. Never mind.
The St. Louis Battlehawks are selling out 40,000 tickets for every home game, bro. Don't hate on the UFL. It's the UFL, first of all.
Green Bay's gonna use the whole clock. They're down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Boys, I am going to jump off and let you guys finish.
Dude, you're such a bum.
I have to. My kid is still fighting to stay awake because he's watching me on this show.
I understand, but there's like 9 picks left.
And
I know, but it's already 9:40 and he's got to go to bed.
Look, this is a special night. He's got till 10 o'clock.
No, he doesn't.
Uncle Turtle said he's got till 10 o'clock.
He's a bear to wake up in the morning, and not a Chicago bear. So I'm gonna hop off.
You gotta at least stay for the Packers pick.
I'll wait for the Packers pick just so I can be annoyed.
This desk has been about defense. I've had a lot of Packer fans come up to me this week and say, Greeny, we never take a wide receiver in the first round. But this time, Matthew Golden is still on the board, Mel.
There's no shot they're taking a wide receiver.
You know, if they take a wide receiver, Aaron Rodgers is going to drive to Green Bay and just punch everybody in the face.
I mean, they do need wide receiver.
They don't need wide receivers.
I mean, they got like 85 wide receivers there.
Yeah, but they're not sold on what's his face.
They just signed McCole Hardman.
Whoa!
And they have Watson.
Josh Jacobs said they needed a pure number one, and they went out and they got McCole Hardman.
He's such a great guy to talk to get insight about his players and about
I
why they
love
did
it.
the way they did. And he says it about Matt.
How did they not trade for DK Metcalf?
Let him take a running back.
Comfortable in his offense.
You know what I mean? Like how did they not trade for?
So
Maybe
could
that's why
they
I
run?
think
Could they run this down to like 30 seconds because they're trying to trade?
No, it has to be Will Johnson. You have a huge hole at corner, and the kid is a top 10 pick.
Yeah, Jair Alexander's ass.
And they want to trade him anyways.
Wait, did you just say Jair Alexander's ass?
I want to fuck the Packers. Yes, he is ass.
In attendance, waiting to hear who their
Brother spends more time on the sideline talking shit hurt than he does playing football.
Quarterback come off the board. We've had only one trade.
Gotta be Will Johnson.
Fewer than 3 first round.
Probably Johnsonville Brats for all I know.
The last time that we had that few was back in 19.
No, you know who you sounded like when you just yawned right there, Vince? Somebody who destroyed their credibility and is no longer allowed to talk Chicago sports. John's a ghoul.
Where a quarterback may go, and now we're looking.
Bro, remember that guy?
Set to make their pick. So the pick is
he still around?
No, he ruined his career by
pedophile accusations, right?
Yeah.
Wild.
Competitive division.
All right, let's go.
The pick is in and Goodell.
It's literally the worst color scheme in the NFL. It's literally the most disgusting.
This isn't the first time you've been up here.
I can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
gotta sit on my lap.
Lambeau is a historic stadium.
I don't care. The Packers are trash.
The commissioner with a very special guest who will be very
We have
well
very
Oh, he just had his head on her shoulder. What'd you say you have learned?
Bart Starr's announcing the pick.
Who is that? Is that guy from Fox News?
Wow.
That is not Tucker Carlson.
Isn't that the tight end that they have?
Mark Murphy.
I know who it is.
Isn't Tucker Carlson?
It does kind of look like Tucker Carlson from far away.
Isn't that their tight end, Tucker Carlson?
No, it's Tucker Kraft.
Oh,
I was
Tucker
just
Kraft.
talking about that guy today. I was like, can't believe he doesn't have a Kraft mac and cheese.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, that's easy.
Roger, thank you in the NFL for bringing the draft.
That's never coming back to Green Bay.
No. Who wants to go to Green Bay?
The best draft in the history of the NFL. Chill out, brother. We were in Nashville, Detroit, Chicago.
Fans here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and
I mean, it is pretty packed up there for a Thursday night.
Because there's nothing else to do in Green Bay.
Exactly. What are they going to do? Finger cows in the field? I don't know.
Those aren't fans. Those are people that work for
It's our
ESPN.
honor and privilege to host this wonderful event in our community, particularly since we
all
are
brother,
the only
sister, cousins
community-owned
hanging
team
out.
in the NFL.
No, can you just announce the pick already?
Yeah, stop stroking. Let's go. I want to go to
Just out of
get off this.
curiosity, how many of you are owners?
The greatest scam of all time.
We also have the best owners.
I understand, but stop.
And we also want to celebrate the special connection we have with our fans that dates back to the early
You're
days.
okay.
Hey, I know who they take.
With the 23rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the 13-time world champion Green Bay
God.
Packers,
Shut up.
for the first time since 2002,
Wide receiver.
draft a wide receiver. Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas.
Were they going to boo if they didn't like it? No.
So they got another really fast receiver. Is that what they did with Christian Watson?
Yeah, but Christian Watson's going to – I don't think they're going to keep him. He's
I
like,
don't-
God dang it.
I don't understand the move, man. I don't get it.
You need a corner help.
I'm really surprised it's not Will Johnson. I can't believe, like, the way this dude's dropped.
That's the cornerback, right?
Yeah, the corner out of Michigan. Top 10
Yeah.
pick. He's
Bears trade both picks to get to go pick him up.
Mike would lose his mind. Every time I say they need a corner, he yells at me.
We don't need a corner.
He tells me
Why
how
not?
good Rick
Why
Stevens
not?
can be.
Who's the other side of Jalen Johnson? The guy that Ryan Poles didn't draft, by the way. Okay. I am absolutely done listening to that bullshit "Go Pack Go." It's so annoying. Makes me want to put my finger in a socket.
What do you think is worse, the "Go Pack Go" chant or the incomplete chant at Denver every time the other team has an incomplete?
The "Go Pack Go" chant, without a doubt.
I don't know, man. That Denver every time the other team has an
so stupid.
John, you're okay, buddy. Please don't cry.
I'd cry too if I had to listen
I
to
watch
that
0
song
Denver games a year, so I have no stake in.
My wife's a Denver fan, so
if he wants to cry because that song is terrible, he can cry.
Like to get down now?
Hey, buddy. Come on, we gotta go put your
Wait,
food back.
don't take those.
Bella?
Just wave. Wave and say bye.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Come on.
I want you just to smell them.
Okay, go ahead. You can take the empty wrapper.
I didn't know it was empty. Where's
Bella, come on.
Bella, I said let's go.
Very, very vocal she is now.
Oh man, she don't never stop. She tells you that too. She thinks she's slick too. She stole my fruit snacks.
That's bogus. She did you dirty.
So she's been waiting for these ones. They're I don't know if you've ever seen high chew candy.
Yeah.
So these are high chew gummies.
Okay.
They're fire.
Regular high chews are fire, so I would expect nothing.
Right. So they have strawberry, peach, and mango. And they're so good. They're like little filling inside.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy some.
Yeah,
you sold
really,
me.
They're really
as soon
good.
as you lifted up the bag, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, Bella had them one time, and she was like, "I need them again." Vikings pick is in.
All right, boys. I do got a jet.
All right, Ace. Ryan Poles is the man. We'll see you later.
How are you guys going to see the draft if I leave?
Oh, so you got to stay then.
I can't.
Oh, dude, we're on
just
pick.
remove
24.
yourself and come back later once the stream's over, and clean up.
Yeah, just turn your camera off. Just leave this up. There you go. He couldn't have left us audio. We get the silent track.
For me, man. You know, I'm a reliable
All right, I'll mute the audio. I can do that part.
man.
Oh, okay, nice.
That's what I'm willing to do. But you,
Hey, that's not nice.
Dog mentality, know that.
All right, welcome home.
Thank you.
Guys.
Welcome home.
Mel, you
That boy
mentioned
is
the
not from Green Bay.
4-2-9.
There's no way.
That opened a lot of eyes. 58 catches, 9 touchdowns in his one season at Texas.
The 16th ranked player on my big board. Packers sitting at pick number 23. We're talking about this year. 9 games, he averaged 20 plus yards per catch. Here he is with the Houston Cougars. Over a 2-year period, he had 76 catches, averaged 13.
Yeah, Minnesota and then Houston.
At Texas this year, he was out.
You know, Minnesota was hoping Hampton was still there.
Right.
Championship game against Georgia.
Minnesota's just like, yeah,
62 yards.
we don't like this short guy we drafted from Michigan. Let's take Shedeur Sanders.
He had 2 to 3 concentration drop. That was it. He's a guy who gets open. He can handle tight coverage. He catches the ball in traffic. He's tough across the middle. He's quick out of his break. He sells the route. And I was impressed with the consistency.
If the pick's in, just give us the pick.
Know that he was understated. He was underappreciated.
Somebody in my fantasy league is a Steelers fan. Somebody said, "How's everyone feeling about this draft?" He said, "I wanted a quarterback and at least wanted a running back for the Steelers." So I guess I can't be mad at a defense tackle.
I was impressed with his ability to separate. That's what a quarterback wants to see.
I was hoping Mike would let us know what he thought about the Steelers pick, but
and when you look at Green Bay, it's
I haven't
often
seen
said that
nothing.
Green Bay has
Everyone's mad about the Buka pick.
Might he be the number 1 that they've covered? When you look at
How do you take a wide receiver in the first round that's not even going to play?
This is a justified pick.
it doesn't even make sense, dude.
No, they got Mike Evans, they got Chris Godwin, and they got McMillan, the rookie from last year.
Right.
You have that, and you decide to do your first pick. You're to draft a wide receiver.
So if the Steelers don't end up with a quarterback, I think that's got to be.
The Minnesota
You still
Vikings
for the side?
select
Or are you trying to show me how low?
Donovan Jackson, guard, Ohio State.
Donovan Jackson, guard from Ohio State.
All right, and so there's the reaction from
Looking
the
good.
crowd.
Maybe Josh Simmons falls
Versatility
for
is
the
the word
Bears.
that comes to
Second
mind.
round.
He started 31 games at left guard for the Buckeyes, then kicked out to left tackle and played great. So Donovan Jackson goes to Minnesota, but I'm told to go. Adam Schefter has breaking news for us. Sheffy, what can you tell us?
Oh, what's up,
We
Chef?
said this would be the quarterback
Houston.
range, and the New York Giants have just traded back into the first round to pick number 25, which belonged to the Houston
Shedeur.
Texans. In return,
Yep.
they're giving up pick 34, pick number 99, and a third-round pick in 2026.
Wow.
The Giants at 25 are
That's
on
actually
the
not bad.
clock for a quarterback here.
No, they gave
All right, here
up
we go. So
2
this is
second-round
exactly
pick. No,
what we were waiting for.
second-round
The
pick,
Giants
4th-round
getting their
pick,
man at the
and a
top. I'm
third
Joe
next
Carter
year.
not taking the quarterback there. If they turn it around and get the quarterback they're looking for here, this could turn out to be a magnificent night
Wow.
for the Giants.
Well, it's been discussed that Brian Dable likes
They're going to get
Jackson
Abdul
Dart.
Carter and Shedeur Sanders.
Talking about number 3, way too high. He's 28, same grade as the 21st player on my board.
Look, all we needed was Ace to leave, and that's what we needed for the excitement.
More mobility. Certainly Jackson Dart. He can beat you with his legs. He has 1,500 rushing yards the last 3 years. So if you're looking for traits, Jackson Dart has a few more than Shedeur on paper. I'm a Shedeur
Oh,
guy.
here's Dion.
Love him. Jackson Dart I like. And I think Brian Dable says, hey, he's my guy.
So who's the next quarterback on the board after Shedeur? Like, is there any chance they take
Okay, and he can make the throw.
they take Dart here and just
Well, that's what they're talking about right now. Is that Jackson Dart is the mobile guy? He's the guy that can run and throw. But Shedeur's the pocket guy. He doesn't really run. He's just a pocket quarterback.
Throws under
Right.
pressure when pressure's in his face.
Oh,
it's outstanding.
that's
He
Jackson
stands in that
Dart.
pocket and makes big
Yeah.
time throws. I agree with you. Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback.
What is going on with that hair, dude?
That little handshake hugs makes it look like it's Jackson Dart.
In games late, he's taking it out of field. Jackson Dart had some meltdown. That particular
Shedeur is gonna be pissed.
All right, I'm going to take a very short timeout. We're going to come back. The New York Giants are on the clock. Adam
But you
Schefter
figure
has told us
you
to
got
expect
Shedeur
a
Sanders and
quarterback.
Jackson Dart, and then after them it's a toss-up. There's Jalen Milrow, there's Tyler Shuck, the 25-year-old quarterback.
Bro, I'm an Alabama fan. Jalen Milroe's not the answer.
You know, when he first came to Alabama, I really thought he was going to be like the truth. I thought he was going to be like the best player around, and like he could be the first like amazing Alabama quarterback.
Nope.
What a nice cleansing surprise.
What do you mean? Did you just say the first amazing Alabama quarterback?
I mean, who's the best NFL Alabama quarterback?
Tua.
Okay.
Summer starts.
No thoughts on the table.
That's the best
Who?
you hang that on?
Who? Mac Jones.
Yeah.
With Stitch.
No, I'm gonna give you to the count of 3, Stitch.
They made a live-action Stitch. Bella will love that.
1.
No, Jalen Hurts is probably.
Yeah, but he didn't graduate from Alabama.
Let's talk salary.
Great.
What?
What do you typically offer?
He didn't graduate from Alabama.
And if it was a number,
That's true.
it
He
would
transferred
be-
out. You're right.
Yeah, he come from Oklahoma.
You can avoid awkward salary conversations from
Did he
the
go to
start.
Oklahoma and win Heisman under Lincoln Riley?
Yes, I was heartbroken when that happened. Thanks for unlocking an old wound, my friend.
He likes his side firm. I like my side soft.
Sleep Number does that. Effortless.
Our guy Mike is not happy with that
Why
Steelers
you can
pick.
play like this?
Yeah, because I also like to sleep cool.
That's all right though. If they take Dart right here, the Steelers still got a chance to do the same thing.
Meet the Sleep Number Climate Cool Smart Bed. Sleep up to 15 degrees cooler on each side. Visit a Sleep Number store near you.
I bet it feels like best against you, strawberry kisses. I bet it feels like
What? Why are we watching K Jewelers commercials right now? Why doesn't the draft have dope commercials like the Super Bowl?
Like the Super Bowl does?
To the grocery store.
That would be perfect, wouldn't it? Like, I want to see a Doritos commercial where a little kid kicks a grown man in the balls. Like, come on now.
Or like they should just be like showing like constant draft information or something.
Right. Like the NFL Network is a premium channel. Why is it not commercial free, first of all? Now you're advertising your competition. I'm just kidding.
Saturday at 7.
I enjoy watching the UFL. I will say that.
I haven't seen
to
much
the
of it.
show, the one with unimaginable power and endless
I watch
Phillies,
every
Cubs,
St. Louis
big-time
home game
talent shines from the
Yeah.
friendly confines
because
of
they
Sunday Night
consistently
Baseball.
fill that stadium with
The Battlehawks?
yeah.
I got
They
a friend-
consist
Go ahead.
they consistently fill the stadium with like 30 to 40,000 people every home game.
Mine that lives like not by me, like but he lives out in like this general area, and he's got season tickets.
For sure. I've been to one game there. I want to
Yeah.
50-yard line tickets are like $100, dude.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Why not? Why not go watch a spring football game for $100? And I haven't watched.
Sorry, go ahead.
I haven't watched them as much this year because AJ McCarron's gone, but
oh, finally the pick is in.
Penn State.
All right, what do we got?
A friend of mine that's in my fantasy league, he said this has to be Sanders, right? I said, I think it's Dart. He said, don't you dare. I'll turn my fandom card in right now.
He'll what?
I'll turn my fandom card in right now. The Giants fan.
I got you.
Giants pick at number 25.
I think it's Dart.
The Houston Texans have traded the 25th pick to the New York Giants. With the 25th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Jackson Dart, quarterback.
Wow. Wow. Quite shocking that was. Yeah.
Wow. All right. You know the story. Legendary.
Oh my
career in
God,
Utah, threw
dude.
For 67 touchdowns. As a senior, he went to USC.
Deion
started 3
Sanders
games,
is
then
going
transferred to
ballistic
Ole
right
Miss.
now. I
Started
guarantee
38
that.
games for Lane Kiffin through 7
You know McVay was hoping Dart was going to fall to him.
Oh, absolutely.
I could draft him at 27 overall or 26 overall and just put him behind Stafford for a year or two.
Right.
With his leg. His completion percentage every year under Lane Kiffin improved 62%, 65%.
Well, so do the Rams go Shedeur Sanders here?
20 to 23.
The pick is in.
This past year. 11
That was fast.
Last 2 years. 15
That was really fast. So, oh, the Rams have traded the pick.
Oh, traded to Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Will Johnson.
Atlanta.
Someone got to move up and get Will Johnson, right?
I think, yeah, I think so.
That'd be pretty good for Atlanta. Talk about a quick way to revamp your defense. Get Michael Williams and Will Johnson.
Touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And that late
Yeah,
down against
that wouldn't be a
Florida.
bad move
So
at all.
3 big spots didn't come up big. Shedeur consistently did, despite being a rat. I like Jackson Dart. I love Shedeur. We'll see how it works out. Keep in mind, the quarterbacks that have dropped a little bit. How about the quarterbacks went ahead of them? Brett Favre.
He's got
Sam
that
McGuire,
mobility.
Todd Marinovich went ahead of Brett Favre. Joe Montana, Jack Thompson, Steve Fuller went ahead
He's
of
got
Joe
that move.
Montana.
He can
DJ
move.
Manuel went ahead of
Shedeur
Geno
can't.
Smith, and 3 players were drafted by the Bengals before they took Boomer aside to the second round. So it doesn't always go. The quarterbacks go in the order or the way they
How much
work
of
out
that,
in the NFL.
though,
So
do
for
you
Shedeur,
think?
I
I think Shedeur has the athleticism to move. I think,
the New Orleans Saints are the perfect fit.
honestly,
Because
his
Pittsburgh's
dad told
weather,
him,
right? The Giants are
plant your
weather,
feet and be a
this
pocket
division's
passer,
weather,
bro. Don't be
Wait,
mobile.
I mean, don't forget he's trained by Tom Brady.
So much, you give him a chance to be the guy
Right.
career he's certainly capable of.
I think Jackson is
You know, Tom
very
Brady's not going to
down in Oxford.
not going to train him on off balance throws.
Another kid who I was fortunate enough
Right.
to call 3 of his
Yeah, you're not
games
wrong
in the
there.
past couple of years. He's got a big arm. He is tough. He can pick up first downs. He can bomb the football. It doesn't always seem to be able to get through progressive.
Speaking of Tom Brady,
That's something he'll have time to work
as
on.
far as celebrity cameos go, his cameo in the movie Ted 2 is probably one of the
We'll
best
see.
ever.
You know what? Hey, that's a
It is a
for
good
John
one.
Mara. But I'm happy for the kids.
That was
Let's
on
find
the
out
other
Cameron
day
South
on
Alabama.
HBO, and I sat and watched it, and I'm like, I can't believe they got Tom Brady to do this shit.
That head coach Brian Dable likes Jackson Dart. Why? Because he has some of the same traits that Josh Allen had in Buffalo. That mobility, the dual threat ability, the big arm to get the ball down the field, the toughness.
Apparently, I didn't watch enough Ole Miss football last year. I know they were in the top 25 for most of the season, but
is here and will be a New York Giant, Greeny.
Everyone's so mad.
All right, and so, Mel, once again, this is a conversation that is going to be continued. These quarterbacks will be compared to each other for a long time. We know it'll happen. Shedeur Sanders will be drafted at some point here, whether it's tonight or tomorrow. The Giants have made this
what if
decision,
Detroit
and we will
goes
take a
Sanders
look
at
the history
28?
Of first-round quarterbacks in New York Giants history. They drafted Phil Simms in 1979.
I mean, you got to think at some point you got to start
Phillip Rivers, we know, was not a Giant.
replacing Jared Goff, right? Like, you got to get the next guy in line.
I mean, he's had such good years the last couple of years with Ben Johnson. We'll see what he does without him.
In this draft
Right.
of the New York Giants. Quick thought,
I guess Goff
Falcons
30. I
will be
thought he
making
was a
a
little
pick
bit
at
older.
Interesting how quickly he gets on the field. Coming at RPO
But,
offense,
I mean,
you got Wilson, Winston, and DeVito. How you add Jackson
30's
Dart,
old
and
for
they need the young
a quarterback, bro. I mean,
I know. Well, that's why I said Geno Smith. You said 35. I said, yeah, 55.
I got you.
Here come the Falcons.
The Los Angeles Rams have traded the 26th pick.
They were taking Jackson Dart.
With the 26th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select James Pierce Jr.
Oh, I forgot he was still there.
Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they went out and got two edges.
Pierce Jr. goes to the
Wow.
Falcons and moved into the spot that had
Talk about-
the Los Angeles Rams. Adam Schefter.
I mean, that's Grady Jarrett. Like, you go, we're going to move on from Grady Jarrett, and you go get an immediate answer. That's a great move by them.
I forgot he was still there, to be honest.
Yeah, so did I, honestly, because when we were talking earlier in the show, we were talking top 15. So
Right.
now we're down here at 26. It's like, what?
Next year, the
Oh,
Cleveland
wow.
Browns already have the Jaguars' first-round pick from one trade today,
And
the
they got their
Rams now
third-round
have
pick
the
for
Falcons' first-round pick next year for this trade.
their second and seventh this year and their first next year. That might be a little steep, but
That get moved. As far as James Pierce is concerned,
I mean, I like the move. It's a logical one.
last 2 years, Mel, racking up 17 sacks.
Look, I'll tell you, look, I got to see this guy. I'm telling you, this dude has the most potential of any pass rusher in this draft. I believe outside of Abdul Carter.
Wow.
He could be the next best pass rusher in this draft without a doubt. At 6'5", 240 pounds, 4'4",
I mean, yeah, he was really good. I forgot he was there.
Of Devon Kurtz when he came out of Florida.
Yeah,
He
same.
could go speed to power as well as.
Did I hear them say the Rams now have 3 first-round picks next year?
He's got the speed to chase down any quarterback in the
That
NFL.
is what they said.
They said they have their own. They have the Jaguars, and now they have the Falcons' first-round pick next year.
He blows up everything.
Yeah, that's wild.
Everything. He'll track down balls one side of the field to the other. The question with James is this: consistency. Can you get it out of him all the time? Can you count on him? Can you depend on him? Is he always going to be there? Is he always going to answer?
I think,
the bell?
wasn't he voted
Because
like
if
the
he
worst
does,
teammate in the
Atlanta
entire of
finally
all
has
the
rusher
guys
that
coming
they
out
can
in the
look
draft?
because he has it all.
Was that
The
him?
Falcons have been in the bottom
Yeah, I think
two
so.
in
Yeah,
sacks
you're right. I
4
do
of the
recall
last
reading
6
that.
years, including 31 last season, but they've gone a long way to address that tonight, taking Jalen Walker from Georgia earlier, and now James.
Oh, yeah, they got
Pierce
Jalen
from
Walker,
Tennessee.
not
But the big
Michael
move made
Williams.
just moments
Yeah.
ago, Jackson Dart, quarterback Ole Miss, to the New York Giants.
Jackson Dart, man. I can't believe that.
So the Giants with a huge night with all the pressure in the world on
Wow.
their coach. And
The
general
the
manager
Giants
Larry
GM is a clown, bro.
Yeah.
in Green Bay on ESPN.
Now you've got Baltimore at 27, Detroit at 28. Does that say at 29? Washington?
Washington.
Washington 29, Buffalo at 30.
Visit Lowe's.com.
Kansas City,
Kansas City,
31,
Philly.
and
Now,
Philly 32.
to recreate the
Yep.
look in your home. Lowe's.
I can't believe Mike
official
Green's
partner
still
of
on the board.
NFL.
Yeah. Well, look, James Pierce just went.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess with that logic, yeah.
Patty Patty, engage.
Crazy, bro.
It's mission.
Yeah, it's definitely been a first like the top of the draft kind of went as we expected, other than like Jacksonville moving up, but it was still the same guy we expected. But then after you got to like that middle part, it just really kind of went off the rails for what we expected.
Or both. Find your mountain of entertainment on Paramount.
Ravens pick is in. We're moving fast now, bro.
Game to a show on Max without
Yeah, because you get towards the end where guys are like, well, this guy's still here, I'm taking him.
Right, exactly.
Oh, it's all connected. Shows, movies, sports, cooking shows.
Is she talking to us?
Tell me, how does DirecTV put all your favorite stuff on one home screen? Uncanny content suggestions based on your watch history? Or mind control?
We'll be
recently electrocuted.
A better way to watch whatever you want to watch.
Well, I, for one, am intrigued.
Well, we are at the 3-hour mark, my friend, as we always end with these shows.
It takes so long.
Why don't we go ahead and play a quick commercial break while we're waiting for the next pick to come in?
And then come back and hopefully a little lightning flow.
Yeah, we can play our old clip from our guy, Mr. CBD.
Yeah, perfect timing.
So let's go ahead and take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back with you in 54 seconds. All right, guys, and we are back right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. This is our draft special covering the entire first round of the NFL draft. We are just over the 3-hour mark, excuse me, and the Ravens pick is in. So as soon as we get back from commercial here, we'll take a look at what Baltimore has decided to do here in the draft. I think it's obviously the big news at this point is Shedeur Sanders is still on the board at 27. So does Shedeur Sanders go in the first round? Honestly, if someone else doesn't trade back in to get him, I think he's a day 2 pick, guys. And that's very shocking from really everything that's been read across the league, was that his attitude is what's causing him to fall. And now we're seeing that come to fruition. So I think it's absolutely crazy the way this first round of the draft has shaped out thus far. And it'll be interesting to see how we close out the night. Do our Chicago Bears move back in and pick somebody late? I don't think so. I think this draft has heavily favored our Chicago Bears. Well, let's take a listen to the pick.
The Baltimore Ravens select Malachi Starks, defensive back, Georgia.
Malachi Starks. I think that's it's a logical pick for for Baltimore. Malachi Starks out of Georgia. Big playability. I like the pick there for him. I wasn't sure what direction Baltimore was going to go. Turtle, so we got Malachi Starks from Georgia going to Baltimore.
I thought that might be Watts out of Notre Dame there rather than Starks.
I mean, Starks has some big playability.
I think Starks is more of a. I think he's more of a free safety, where Watts probably more of a strong safety.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it kind of gives them what they're looking for there.
Yeah, I was going to say schematically, I think it makes a lot of sense for them to make the pick in Starks here.
Yeah, you see him play the ball a lot.
Ball hawk.
Yeah, kind of like that Ed Reed type.
Yeah, exactly.
in this safety in Baltimore. There's a sign in the facility that says play like a Raven. He will embody that coming from Georgia, being coached under Kirby Smart.
He's a good player. You know, he's very much a Baltimore Raven type player.
Oh, absolutely.
Down around the line of scrimmage to be able to play the ball and make plays. What he lacks maybe in speed and athleticism, he makes up by being able to key and diagnose quickly. This is a true football player that had very high football character.
Yeah, he's a guy who seems like he would fit in Baltimore in some of their split safety stuff.
So do we agree that Oregon has like the best unis in all of college football?
When I worked for the Blitz, we had a player, Marvin Johnson. I signed him. He was out of Oregon. I signed him. We became pretty close. He was telling me that every year they played, they got to keep one of their jerseys and helmets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they should have had like 5 different combos like every year.
Right.
Now they have like 25.
That's one thing. Really, honestly, that's one thing I hope that Alabama changes now that Saban's gone. Is
like multiple uniforms.
Yeah, get us an alternate, man.
Yeah, I could see them like a black jersey.
Yeah, I would like that. A black with the crimson and white trim. I think that'd look,
for sure.
That'd look sick.
You know, you're going to see a lot of that change now that, I mean, nothing against Nick Saban, obviously the best coach in college history. But,
right.
You know, but some of that old school stuff that you kind of did mess with while he was there. I mean, look at his office. Like you see the way it was changed.
Right.
So much
Yeah,
more modern.
as great as
Much more
Saban
modern
was,
now.
he's very old school, traditional. I mean,
Last year for Eric DeCosta, outstanding general manager with the Baltimore Ravens.
Now you can actually see the intensity in
Detroit, the pick is in.
From the green room.
I wonder where they go.
Actually lifted the
Oh, they're on the phone. They're trading.
on the stage now.
Or maybe not.
Maybe we're calling him the pick.
I
I wonder.
That was the
I mean, I
Ravens.
feel like I've said his name 12 times tonight, but I wonder if it's Will Johnson.
With Commissioner Goodell, how do you describe what's going through you right now?
So if Shador doesn't go here, he falls to tomorrow. And I don't think he goes to Detroit.
I don't think he goes first round. I mean, not now. I thought he would, but I don't think he does now.
What will you bring to that secondary?
I got energy.
I think I could really see. I'm trying to think. I think Detroit needs a corner. If they do, I could really see them bring in Will Johnson.
Thank you.
Guys,
I can't believe Will Johnson's still on the board. But yet again, everyone thought Shador was going to go.
I said before this, right before that, I told Tarbill, I said I know I've said his name like 12 times tonight. Babe, he was a top 10 pick, and now we're at pick 28.
Teams in here. They booed the Bears quite loudly. They booed the Vikings loudly, and now they
that's wild.
The Lions loudly as well. The Lions obviously a terrific season.
I mean,
last year, a terrific team.
It's that any given Sunday mentality, man. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you never know till the draft starts. So that's why I say, like, there's always those surprises. Something always happens where it's like, wow.
Right.
ESPN's got Will Johnson, number 1. Oh, this is late. This isn't updated because J.D. Barron went already.
Right.
That was that surprise pick by the Broncos. So they've got Will Johnson, number 1, and Maxwell Harrison, the other corner, is 2. Yeah, them is the top 2 available right now is the 2 corners. And then Jaheed Campbell, Mike Green, Josh Simmons.
I was going to say, I hate to agree with Booger, but I think they could really go Mike Green here. I think his play style is very Detroit-esque.
Yeah, and you saw they really didn't have anything after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt.
Right. Definitely need some depth there for sure.
Yeah. Everything they were trying to get done last year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
They're one of 2 teams that didn't have multiple players with 5 sacks last season. Aiden Hutchinson led the team in sacks, and he only played in 5.
Man, that Detroit defense was stripped bare bones by the end of the year, bro.
Led the team in sacks and only played in 5 games.
That's crazy.
You talk about they have Jack Campbell, but Carson Schlesinger from UCLA. All this kid does is make impactful plays, and he is a tackling machine.
Here's the commish with the selection.
Do you think we see any more trades?
I can see somebody trading into the tail end of the first round for Shador.
Select Tyleek Williams, defensive
Wow.
Ohio State.
Wow.
That was the guy I liked for the Bears in the second round.
So not an edge, a dominant run defender at 334 pounds who also compressed.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him in the second round. I guess at 28, it's not that much of a stretch.
You're not far
right?
from the second round now, but I like this kid a lot.
Like a 3 technique. I got an opportunity to train him and take him on the field in Tampa. He's got elite movement for a guy that's 330 pounds.
6'2", 330.
Talk about him playing
Elite movement for a guy that's 330. That's obviously rare.
To flip his hips and get upfield. He's got the versatility to play the 3 technique.
Washington.
He's so fast for 6'2". I mean, for 330.
Slims down a little bit. He could be the
What are Washington's
I'm
needs?
sitting here looking at my notes. He primarily aligned as the 3 tech, and I said the second thing I put.
I was going to say receiver, but I forgot they traded for Deebo Samuel.
Balance and center of gravity.
Right.
Fluidness of movement.
Yeah, I liked that when they traded for Debo. They posted a meme of Debo from Friday.
Right. Maybe a running back.
Hey, they're probably figuring this. We don't like somebody on the outside on the
You know,
edge.
they got Austin Eckler, but he's older. They got
Henderson. Do they go?
Getting hurt. They got
tonight's first round.
the young kid that got shot. Who's that? Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
They got him, but he hasn't really been the guy that everyone thought he was going to be.
There was only a 3% chance he'd be available.
3% chance Shedeur would be available right now.
That's a team. This is a team I could see trading back with somebody that wants Shedeur Sanders or Will Johnson. I mean, I guess Will Johnson, right? Like,
we keep talking about it, but bro, it's the 29th pick, and he's still on the board.
I mean, when you talk about a team like Washington that was in the NFC Championship game,
right?
I thought, Tyreek Williams, the one that just went, I thought he'd have been a good fit for them, but he's gone now.
So, while we're on commercial, you're not in your usual spot. Did y'all move, or are you just in a different?
So, and you already know this because you're very familiar with my family, but I am lucky enough to be with the most amazing woman in the world. And she surprised me the other day. I got home from work, and the walk-in closet that we had turned into the nursery or the crib spot for John, she had moved the crib and everything herself. She moved everything around, and she set up all my Funko Pops and my pictures of the kids and the ticket stubs from the wrestling that she took me to. And she moved my PlayStation in here. You see the monitor behind me for my PlayStation.
Yep.
And this little area here for my computer. And she's going to get like flags right here to put up during shows. And she made me my own little podcast gaming area.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I like the setup where you're at, honestly.
Yeah, we
got good lighting. I can hear you a lot better. I mean, it's a good spot.
Tarbill says he could hear a lot better here than when it was wide open. So I came home one day and she had done it all. Lucky enough to be with somebody that special, but she took care of all that. We were going to do a couple other things to it, but then John got readmitted to the hospital and everything.
Right.
We're dealing with that, but I had a little area to do my show here tonight, and we'll be set up before next week's show. And been looking at some equipment and different things like different microphones and different things to take it to the next level.
No, very cool, man. Cool. Yeah, you definitely are blessed. That woman puts up with you, so praise her for that.
All right, the fact alone that she puts up with me, let alone everything else, but
So I see John's home, so that's good.
He came home during the show.
That's awesome. So
yep, she's pretty special, even though she's pretending not to hear me. Tarbill said you're special too.
Thanks, Tarbill.
Dang, I didn't even get an acknowledgement. You got to thank.
That's what's up. Hey, no, and I mean, it's been, other than pictures, it's been a while since I saw your daughter as well. So I was wow.
She's every day she's bigger and talking more and more.
Courtyard by
I know Scarlett's gonna be 8 this year, man. Time flies.
I swear you blink in her a year later.
Wow.
We're back in Green Bay.
All right, we're back, and the Commander's pick is in.
Number 29 after a magnificent season led.
They're not trading out. Oh, I forgot they got Laramie Tunsil.
I did too, and
great
Javon
addition,
Kinlaw.
dude.
So that I was going to say Williams, but he doesn't make sense there. They already got Kinlaw.
Oh yeah. What are
What
they doing here?
Gotta be corner.
Keep helping out Jaden Daniels. They did that with Laramie Tunsil coming in. So I think when you look at this, it's all about Jaden, but I'd say a big corner. Will Johnson still on board with his length and athleticism. And Mike Green, pass rusher out of Marshall, is a guy we know from a talent standpoint and the production that he had at Marshall this year. You get off the edge, you get after the quarterback.
Here's the thing I would say. If you think about the theme of the night, you have a young quarterback. You help the young quarterback.
My dad said it's either going to be Will Johnson or as a Roku.
What's that? Sorry.
My dad said he thinks it's either going to be Will Johnson or as a Roku.
I think it's Johnson here. Maybe we'll be right, so we can quit talking about Will Johnson.
In the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Josh Connerly Jr.
Oh, wow.
Oregon.
From Oregon.
That changes everything now.
So they take the tackle.
Wow.
Because now Josh Simmons is the only one left.
He has been on the radar a
Right.
long time. He won the Anthony Munoz Award as the best lineman in the country in high school.
Wow. All right.
Games as a freshman at Oregon, started all 14 as a sophomore.
This has got to be. I mean, this is our 5th year doing a draft show. This has got to be the craziest draft we've ever streamed live together for sure.
I mean, the only one that may have topped it was the year they traded up for Justin Fields.
Right.
Just because it was the Bears and they traded.
Right.
The rest of the round wasn't that crazy, but
That's a big boy.
it is.
6'4" and 5'8", 311. Wow.
You figure they went out and got Laramie Tunsil, and now they got a right tackle. Well, I guess they're moving to right tackle.
Yeah, I would think they'd have to, right?
Take away the edge, then mirror that defensive end.
Funny they show the shot of him in his house once he knows he's getting picked, and his dad's standing there taking pictures wearing a Nipsey Hussle shirt. I was like,
He's a little more polished refinement, but the talent level, the skill set of Josh Connerly, if you give him one more year at Oregon, he's probably a top 5, top 10 pick.
You see those feet right there on that EP with the tackle.
give him one more year at Oregon, and he's probably a top 5, 10. I mean,
Yeah.
you went in the first round. You went in the first round, bro. Good
Right.
for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was a guy that we were talking about earlier, Mike, talking about in the second round for the Bears.
right. Like you said, it's getting really slim for the Bears now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd really have to look if I was the Bears at moving up now to one of these spots here to take Simmons. Because, I mean, you would think it wouldn't cost too much to go from 39 to 30 or 39 to 32, something like that.
Right.
I mean, you start to see what they're trying
I don't know that Simmons falls past Philly. I mean, they've lost a couple key pieces the last 2 years.
Or Kansas City, like,
or KC. I mean, obviously, we just acquired Thuney, so
True running back. I know they got Debo Samuel, and he's a jack of all trades.
I don't know.
But they got some nice things going on, and here we now sit with the Buffalo Bills.
The Bills picking at 30. This is a team that has done as much winning as any team ever without taking it all the way. They're 70.
Definitely going to be interesting last 3 picks here.
Going back to 2019
Oh, for
is the
sure.
most in a 6-season span without making a Super Bowl appearance of any team in the league. So it's a bit of damning with faint praise. They've been very, very.
My dad says Simmons won't make it past Kansas City.
They got these cover guys on the back end. You got Will Johnson. As long as the medical is good, Will Johnson.
Wouldn't surprise me.
He won't make it past KC.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. They had a lot of problems on the line last year.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right.
Ran great. Had a really good junior camp. 2020.
4 minutes. Well, just under 4 minutes left here.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see if Buffalo stays here. I don't think.
I mean, they're those long, tough, man-to-man cover guys.
Picks
great
in.
jump ball skills. win at the catch point down in the red zone. The kind of guys that Sean McDermott would like to deal with.
Azaria Thomas would have been in the first round.
Well, let's see. There's 3 picks left.
That's right. I'll tell you what. And
Can we collectively agree, like, the Bears have the dopest draft room in all of the NFL?
Oh, for sure.
I'll tell you this.
It's wild. You look at some of these teams and it's just like, oh, we're in a plain gray office.
I love the orange, but orange is my favorite color. So
right.
That same kind of toughness at the catch point.
well, you've got, let's see, best available from ESPN. You got Will Johnson 1, Maxwell Harrison 2, Hid Campbell from Alabama 3, Mike Green. So you're looking at like corner, edge, and then Simmons offensive tackle.
Wow. Yeah, this draft has been nothing but full of surprises in the first round, man.
And Donovan Uzaroku. It's funny, though, that when you go to best available, Shadur Sanders has now dropped to 11th best available.
A team that was mentioned has been so good and yet come up.
He's now dropped to 11th best available.
Yeah, which is weird because he was
so what projection is he at now?
I don't know, because he was at like 3rd, like the whole time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Against Mahomes in Kansas City and just couldn't quite get it done at the finish. So let's see which direction they go. Everyone here is expecting defense to help Josh Allen. And
I guess Kersey is still there too, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota. You know who I like that I wouldn't mind if the Bears got too is JT Timmolu out of Ohio State, the edge. He's good too.
Yeah.
There's still a couple edges for the Bears to get one.
And we can see the commissioner making his way to the podium with a very special visitor to announce.
Who's this?
The NFL is stepping up to have an even greater impact as a wish maker for Make-A-Wish.
Oh, okay.
For the second time tonight, we have the opportunity to grant a wish for a deserving young man to announce the first pick for his favorite team. Tommy.
That's cool. Oh, so that's who that kid was before.
Yeah.
For Denver. It was Make-A-Wish.
That's awesome. No, really cool to see him do that.
Tommy is a
My dad said and I think he's right. If it stays this way and nobody takes him, I think the Browns take Shadur Sanders at 34.
And he's here with me to make the announcement.
The second pick of the second round.
Beloved Bills. Go ahead, Tommy.
What is so Deshaun Watson tore
his Achilles.
Achilles, right? Yeah.
And then he re-injured it during the offseason.
So, and I mean, it's
He's supposed to miss the whole year.
In the 2025 NFL
Oh, wow.
Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Maxwell Harrison. Let's go!
Maxwell Hairston, let's go.
That was the best announcing ever.
Kentucky, who ran the fastest.
He was excited. That's
There you
cool.
go. Corner off the board, and it is not Will Johnson.
6 interceptions, 3 of them came back.
I don't think Will Johnson's going in the first round, bro. All the talk that we've had about him tonight.
I thought he'd be here. I thought he'd go before. I know this kid's another one that gained a lot of hype during the process.
You know, kind of, I hate to beat the dead horse and go back to Shadur Sanders falling.
Trade alert.
What do we got?
Kansas City has traded the pick to who?
The Bears.
Philadelphia?
What?
Philadelphia moved up one spot to get Will Johnson?
Why? I guess Philly's the king of one-spot trades.
Look, he has the speed and athleticism to make up for some of the deficiencies.
They did it with us. I mean,
as far as route recognition and playing it true and playing it clean with consistency. That's what happens. That's why you slip down here to 30 when you have the kind of athletic ability he has. But look, Sean McDermott will get him right. They need to really get some cover guys, some guys who can make some plays on the ball in the secondary. And this is the kind of kid with the kind of traits that you look for down here late in the first round.
He was the first defensive back in school history to go in round one, and we talk about how badly the Bills need them. They allowed opposing quarterbacks to complete 41% of their passes, thrown 20 yards downfield or more last year. That was 24th.
Yeah, I mean, makes a lot of
in the
sense for them
NFL.
to
Now
go
let's take a
corner
look at
here.
Max Hairston.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
you talk about the ability to recover and to see the size. Only about 180, 183 pounds.
But then it's always that, you remember, it was like they did that with the Bears. Remember they moved up one spot to take Jalen Carter?
That's what I said. They're like the kings of trading one spot.
Sorry, I was talking to Bella.
Oh, I got you.
She's freaking out because she has like a little toy flashlight she's been playing with the last couple of days, but now John has it.
They don't need one. They need two, maybe three cover men to help that secondary.
And I just love how they play. If you notice the video, he's playing off coverage with vision on the quarterback. We talked about how Buffalo wants to play with the safeties high.
And John's got a crazy amount of hair for his age too.
It's funny because the back like went bald.
Yep.
And then it started. And then, what, babe?
From a fit standpoint, and then you add the element of how fast he is.
Yeah, like so the back went. Then he kind of like got it back and the top went bald, and now he got that back and the back went bald.
You saw that.
That's Scarlett was bald like the whole first year, and then she had a mullet till she was.
He's
like
had a lot of hair
3, so.
just from laying on it.
Yep.
Like developed bald
Then he's gonna
spots.
refine his
I
technique,
gotcha.
refine his route recognition, and that's again
Trying to
that's
be
what we're
like
looking
daddy.
for here late in
Yeah.
the first round.
Ooh.
I see him making his way over to our Molly McGrath. Verizon Business brings us down to the stage where Molly has Max Hairston.
And the Eagles pick is in.
Well, and then it's like if you're Kansas City, it's like
that handshake with Roger Goodell.
you know, well maybe I want that player.
What did you gain from moving back one spot? And then if they take your player, you're fucked. Like,
You know, they didn't give the Bears nothing. It was like a 4th round pick the next year.
Energy. You are known as a high character leader at Kentucky.
That's
What is
exactly what it
Buffalo
was.
Getting in you,
Man, Buffalo, they getting the ultimate competitor, the ultimate
First
teammate,
quarterback
and they getting somebody that's gonna
draft
give Josh Allen the ball back.
Not including Cameron.
Let's get the word.
Oh, he hit all these $40
All right,
wager to win
congratulations. Before we
216.
go, let's see the
Nice.
inside of that jacket.
I didn't even know you could. I didn't even know you could bet on that.
I didn't know you could do that
like
either.
that.
And then there were weird
So
bets too,
Max
like the
Hairston
first
is
quarterback,
of
not
Buffalo.
Cameron
I'll tell you
Ward.
what, you know, the NFL draft
Okay, well, because everybody knew he was going to
Kansas
be the
City and
number one
Philadelphia
pick, right?
met in the Super Bowl just a few months ago. Now they've swapped picks here. The
I
Eagles
saw
have
the
moved up to
the odds for
31,
Riley Leonard to
trading up
go
with
in the
Kansas
first
City.
round
Look at
were
the
like
details
plus
on the trade in
2,700.
The Super Bowl champs are on the clock, and we're getting ready to finish up round one from
Like you know how pissed MGM and all these big casinos would be if someone placed that bet and it actually hit.
Oh man, it'd be crazy. So let's see. Philly, you got Philly and then Kansas City. Oh, Kansas
And the
City.
Philly picks in. We gotta extend this as if we haven't been on the air for 3.5 hours. They gotta take a commercial with 2 picks left.
And they made a trade, so they clearly knew who they were picking because they traded for the pick.
Right. Trade for the pick and then run the whole 10 minutes out.
I'm proud of us though. We usually don't make the end.
Hey, we got it. The Bears ran the Caleb Williams pick down to like
I know, like
2 minutes
or something. It's like really, it took you the whole time. You've had
They
4
were-
months.
Well, Poles was talking on the phone with him last night for the first 7 minutes.
Right.
He shared membership with your mom so she could share with you. Easy.
I am
USAA.
interested
Check if
to
you're
watch
eligible today.
more tape of Loveland now that he's a member of the Bears.
I really like him. Like I said one day in the chat, like I think he fits the Bears a lot better. He's very different than Cole Kmet. You know, he can block, but he blocks from not only from on the line, but from the slot as well. He's very athletic and has great hands, and he's more of an athletic receiving type tight end than Cole Kmet is. Cole Kmet and Tyler Warren, I think, are more. And my concern with Tyler Warren is, Tyler Warren is, Penn State didn't have any other receivers. They basically were forcing him targets. Whereas Whereas I thought Loveland was more of
there's more even distribution.
Yeah, like he had to go work for those targets versus Warren, who's got force fed them.
Dak Prescott's preparing for when he retires. He's going to work for Lowe's. I think from the few Michigan games I did watch last season, I mean, I do like his athletic ability was one thing that stood out to me. And one of the ratings I saw said he was like the 7th most athletic tight end or something.
Yeah.
And I don't understand obviously all the metrics that go into that rating behind it, but from what I did see, the sample size I saw on live game and then some of the tape that I watched, I think he's more athletic in certain aspects than Cole Kmet. And
yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, you have the wide receiver kind of catch ability there. So
right. And he has a different skill set, whereas I think Tyler Warren is a lot similar to Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I would agree.
Let's see what they get. Oh, look, they got a 5th round pick this year.
Philadelphia giving up a 5th rounder this year.
5th rounder.
That was my problem with the Bears. They got a pick the following year. Like, you couldn't even get a pick this year.
Yeah, I remember you saying that because you were like, "I'm good with the move." But
it's funny, my old boss
why
texted me before the draft. He was like, I sent him the link, and he was like, "Oh, I remember you being so irritated that they didn't pick Carter." And I was like, "No, it's not." I was okay. They didn't pick him, but like, get more for him.
Right.
First pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jihad Campbell,
linebacker. Wow.
This young man has been on the radar a long time. He committed to Clemson at the age of 16, playing high school ball in New Jersey. Ultimately flipped.
I think he's a true linebacker too. I don't think he's a.
Yeah, he is absolutely.
I don't think he's an edge.
For loss and 5 sacks. 21 on the big board. Really would have been gone a lot higher.
It's a good pick. I mean, he played great for Alabama. I definitely. Watching him play last season, I'm honestly surprised just overall really that a linebacker went in the 1st round because that's kind of atypical, right? Unless they're an absolute stud, but he's a very, very good linebacker. And like you said, he's a true linebacker at 6'2" and 7/8", 235.
They re-signed Zach Barnes.
Got some tape coming up here, and the Chiefs picks in, so they knew who they were picking.
Yeah, they probably knew who they were picking before they made the trade with Philly.
Right. They said, "Hey, we're gonna take this guy. If you don't take him, we'll trade with you."
Right.
You add an athlete on the back end, a guy that can roam and make plays in space.
Yeah, that's one thing I think as a scout or for you, someone that's worked in coaching and player personnel and everything, like the ins and outs, the dynamic behind the scenes to make those kind of deals happen are always so interesting.
Right. On some of the tape when he was playing off ball, right? And he's coming downhill and he's taking on.
That is one thing. I don't like a lot of things that Greg Gabriel posts on Twitter, but I do enjoy his like pure scouting insight.
Right.
Like he's not afraid to talk about his time with the Bears under Jerry Angelo and what they did, kind of give the ins and outs of the process a little bit, and I just find that really cool.
Yeah,
it's something that you don't, the average fan doesn't get to see all the time, right? So
right.
Nobody does it better. Now, to get a Jihad Campbell, who, like I said, I had him at 21. Had not been for the injury, he would have been.
Why are you showing 33 like we're going into the 2nd round? This is it, bro.
Right, exactly. Wait till he's completely healthy. Shoulders are 100%.
Wait, Cleveland has the 1st pick in the 2nd round?
Yeah, because of the trade.
11th trade involving a 1st round pick since he took over.
Yeah, but Cleveland traded back with Jacksonville. How did they get? How does Tennessee not have their 2nd round pick?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I don't know.
The defending Super Bowl champs just traded up for you. How will you repay their belief in you?
The defending Super Bowl champs just traded up for you. Like,
the richer just got rich.
They moved one spot.
He said the richer just
You
got
felt
rich.
like an out-of-body experience. What is it like standing up here as the newest member
The
of the
richer
Philadelphia
just got
Eagles?
rich.
Best team in the nation. I mean, what can I say? E-A-G-L-E-S. There we go.
Greeny.
Thank you.
Hey, he can already spell better than the mayor of Philadelphia, so I'll give him that.
Those injuries, so he might have to wait until tomorrow night. And here's his name.
E-G-L-A.
Kansas
He was
City.
the guy I thought
What
maybe
did
for
he
the
tell us?
Bears.
Well, the Eagles tried trading
second
up
round.
earlier in the draft to go get Jahad Campbell. and
Yeah.
the trade fell through.
He would have been a good fit for the Bears in the second
and
round.
trade up
I'm
one spot. A lot of people might
honestly
ask,
surprised
why
they
would you trade
traded up one spot to get him,
to block
unless they
another
had
team
some sort of
potentially coming up,
intuition
especially
that
when
they
it only
thought
costs
Kansas
you
City was
a
going to
fifth
take
round
him
draft
there. I
pick, and
mean,
you've got 20
Or
picks
somebody else
in
was
the
going to trade
next
up and
two
get him.
rounds to use as ammunition. And now they get a
Right.
player who, as Mel mentioned, could have gone from 12 to 15. He did have surgery on one of his shoulders. He's going to need surgery on another shoulder potentially
wow.
after the
I don't-
season. He's got a knee issue as well, but the
Jeez.
talent is undeniable, Greeny.
No question about
Wow.
it. That feels a little bit like a steal, and that feels a little bit like
he's got a shoulder issue. He's got knee issues.
Hard to say he feels like a steal when you say, well, he had surgery on one shoulder, he needs surgery on another shoulder, and he also has a knee issue.
Final pick of this first round. They're accustomed to doing that. They've won a bunch of Super Bowls in recent seasons. Mel, what does this team need?
I look at a kid, and you talk about injuries, right, with Jahad Campbell. How about Josh Simmons at Ohio State?
No.
Playing great football.
No.
He had the knee injury.
We want Josh
I think
Simmons
that's
to the
ridiculous.
Bears, bro. Come on.
Left tackle for Patrick Mahomes. If I'm a
I think they're taking, I think it's Josh Simmons or, my guy, Will Johnson.
Maybe they go tight end. They got to get a replacement for Kelsey at some point, right?
Yeah, but they got, what's that, Noah Gray or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
They like him. He catches touchdowns.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I was just gonna say this.
It's got to be a Josh Simmons or Will Johnson.
When he was healthy,
I know.
the end of last year and the first.
It's probably Simmons. I don't
For
want
the
it.
Bears' sake, I hope it's Will Johnson. And again, look, like if he falls to the Bears in the second round, I would not be mad if they took him.
Commissioner to announce the
No,
The guy that
no,
everyone thought was a top 10 pick.
this year's draft in Green Bay.
I agree. Yeah, at the spot, I wouldn't be
With
mad
the
either.
32nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Josh Simmons, tackle, Ohio State.
That one hurts a little bit.
Womp
The upcoming
womp.
Malleys from San Diego began his career
Womp,
at San Diego
womp,
State, started every game at right tackle in 2022, transferred to the Buckeyes, played left tackle, started
I
every
don't
game
wanna
in
watch it. I'm
23,
done.
and then this year the
All right, so our Chicago Bears did not trade back into the first round of the NFL draft, guys. We stayed put at 10. Got a key piece for Ben Johnson's offense. I mean, whether you like or dislike the pick, tight end makes a lot of sense there because
I mean,
of,
like it's not one
because
of
of the reasons we discussed. I mean, Ben Johnson runs
as
the most
people see him play, I think they're going to be more
privy to the pick. Like you said, tight end is not a flashy pick. I think you said it's not a sexy pick, but
Right.
yeah, either way, it's not flashy, it's not
Look-
sexy, but it is a position of need. And I think with Cole Kmet, you've seen kind of the safety valve check down production taper off a little bit with Caleb Williams because he can read the field at the end of the day is what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I think, moving forward, I think he's going to be a big piece to what they do in the offense, especially running the two tight end sets. As far as tomorrow goes, we're starting at pick 33. The Bears got 39 and 41. Me and Ace will be on tomorrow night to cover those two picks. But just looking at the best available, you got Mike Green, you got Ezeroku, so you got a couple edges. You got a couple running backs out there with Henderson and Hudkins from Ohio State.
Right.
I keep saying that. Yeah, I wouldn't think he'd be there, but if Will Johnson's there at one of those picks, I mean,
I wouldn't hate it as much as I don't think it's really an immediate position of need. I don't honestly. One last thought, I guess, before we wrap for the night. I don't think there's a lot of people that think that the Bears have to go offensive line, defensive line. I don't think it's that simple. I think you have a lot of versatility here, and Ben Johnson is going, I like this guy. This is my guy with Loveland. I think it's going to be the same thing for the rest of the draft. And I think
maybe they get done with a couple pieces and don't go offensive line. It could be there's 3 or 4 edges out there.
Right.
Green
I would really like Green to the Bears. I think he would make a lot of sense.
I even like the kid at Ohio State, TMO, or however pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
You got good 3 or 4 edges there, and then maybe they get their running back. Whether it's Henderson or Judkins or whoever.
I think at this point our running back is probably, if it's not Henderson in the second, I think it's Johnson later in the draft.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Judkins is too, DeAndre Swift like.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you're looking for something a little different.
Yeah, you talk about that 1-2 punch that he had in Detroit. And I mean, it's so frustrating as a Bears fan that you talk about the fact that David Montgomery also had 1,000-yard season while Jahmyr Gibbs had 1,000+ yard season. And it's like, why did we move on from this guy? Detroit gave him $6 million a year, dude.
Yeah, but you could get the same type of production from somebody, just
from somebody you draft on a rookie
look
deal.
at the offense you were in. I mean, the offense is made to do things like that. So hopefully, whoever the Bears put in that other spot next to Swift, we get the same thing.
Absolutely. But hey, I mean, it's been a great show.
We made it to the end, almost 4
We hit
hours.
3 hours and 40 minutes.
But we made it to the end. So.
I don't know if that's the longest for us, but I don't think we've ever made it through the whole first round.
I don't know if we have either. My wife said some of us did.
So, no, great show tonight, man. And great to be back with you, bro. It's been a while since we've got to be on air together. So,
and then we got
looking forward to
next week. Yeah, the premiere episode of TNT's Dynamite Takes with Turtle and Tarbill, and we got Lester Wilfong's gonna hop on with us from Windy City Gridiron, and we'll get his full reaction to all the Bears picks and what he thinks about going into the season. We got local football player played out in California and pro leagues, and now he's here playing with the Racing Raiders. Gary Young's gonna hop on with us, and we'll just get on and talk and do our thing.
It's going to be a big show, guys. Again, next Thursday night, the premiere episode of TNT's Dynamite Takes right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. Be sure to go follow us on all major platforms. The new Instagram is up for TNT's Dynamite Takes, so be sure to go look us up on there. We'll be posting a bunch of great content around, as well as give my guy Turtle a follow on Twitter. He definitely needs it. I always plug you for that.
I appreciate you for it.
Be sure to go like, follow, and subscribe to the USN on all major platforms. We are on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Spotify coming soon. So I don't think I missed anything there.
Nope, I think you're all good.
We are everywhere. Be sure to hit that bell so you get notified. And again, guys, next Thursday, debut show. Cannot wait. It's been a while since we've got to talk, especially with our guy Lester Wiltfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron. Got 2 great guests lined up, as you alluded to. So cannot wait for that debut show. Be sure to hit that bell so you don't miss it. And we appreciate each and every one of you for joining us tonight. Have a good night, everybody. And Vince will be back with Ace tomorrow evening for the second round of the draft, at least through the Bears picks.
Yeah, we're just going to do the Bears 2 picks.
So be sure to tune in for that, and we will see you next Thursday right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. Have a good night, everybody.